It's day 2 of GACS Operation Cupid from Game Arena in Columbus, Ohio, where we are jumping into the playoffs. Yesterday, we made our way through the groups and into this playoff stage. A beautiful time. Myself, Vincent, alongside Why Not. This is how things went down on day 1. If you missed it, listen, we had a lot of fun, but we got even more fun coming at you today, Tony.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if you missed yesterday, then at the very least, we can give you an idea as to how things had gone down. It was only 4 teams that could make their way into the 3-0 pool for all of these, and they certainly looked like they were ready to do so. The most dominant in form in terms of the round differential, I'm a little bit surprised, but not all that surprised in being Zealous. Just following behind them will have been Team Skyline, Snafafu's Tuition Farm, who we were feeling as if we're one of the favorites coming into this event in general, being the farthest away, as a matter of fact, in that 4th spot, and where we had actually gotten to watch the big dog roster take that 3rd, as it was going to be a really nice seeding, I think, for them, to whereas it's actually shifted where we may think this one will end up.
Yeah, I think that pretty nicely brings us into our bracket. The playoffs, as I highlighted, getting started here. We've got the quarterfinals all set in stone for you. This is how it all shook out. I think Team Skyline getting a chance to maybe take it to over your head could be interesting. We, on the stream that is, going to be able to cover Zealous and Anarchy's accounting firm, which we got to see a whole lot of yesterday. Anarchy's accounting firm, that is. Ironically enough, didn't see any of Zealous, so this will be our first opportunity. Big Dog Sedated, and then Fafu's Tuition Farm up against the Landian Knights, which we also didn't get to see, the Landian Knights, that is, yesterday either. So very excited to kind of see how all of this is going to go down. For me personally, I'm pretty excited for this one. I was pumped to see this Zealous roster, and we didn't get to yesterday. So a quick introduction. These are a bunch of guys actually that I've seen before. Jakey on that Ohio State roster from like a year or so ago. I got to see both Borb and Lee play in the San Antonio event that I casted in August last year. They were down there under the Zealous banner as well. So I'm very excited to see what this Zealous team can do in playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I know nothing about them. Not even a one thing. Never seen them before other than Jakey. Played against Jakey maybe once or twice in collegiate, but other than that, they're fresh faces to me both in the LAN circuit as well as an online. But clearly, I think that they've had enough of those results to be able to say that they've got anything going for them in this event. I mean, they've got players who they've worked with at this event we've already seen as well that have impressed us, so I can only assume by association they've got something up their sleeve and in store. And not having gotten to witness any of their games, it's going to be a good both introduction and, I mean, for their sake, I guess, hopefully maybe even furthering of their chances here in the tournament, as it were, as the quarterfinals is only the beginning of our day. They've got to play another 2 best of 3s, assuming that they're as good as they hope to be.
Yeah, well, let's talk and touch on their opposition. We already mentioned
Saw them
3-0 for that Zealous team. It wasn't quite as perfect for Anarchy's accounting firm. Ran up against Snafafu, lost in that one in Group A, but that was their only loss, 2-1. Otherwise, I think we got to see like a lot of them, but I also don't feel like we got to see them tested all that efficiently. Like the nuke that they played, there was a little bit there. Most definitely, that was the last match for the playoff spot. But very positive things that we got to see out of Twinkinator. AGN absolutely had a lot of impact and also responsibility on this roster, all led by Anarchy. I'm pretty pumped up to see what this squad can do up against the Zealous that I pretty highly rate.
Yeah, I think that this is going to be fun but primarily because, best of 3 format. We get the chance to see them across more than just one map. And I mean, they've played a multitude of maps in general in the best of ones because they've been allotted the time to against rosters who don't really look to take them on battlegrounds that they might be more favorable on. And that's something we're going to be able to go into now that we have the opportunity to actually break down a veto process a little bit deeper than the best of ones. We've seen them here and there take them on 3 different maps as well as find success on more than others, right? Like the Dust 2 that we saw the side of the Anarchy squad on was just frankly like a steamroll. It felt like of the rounds that they were winning. So that's something that I don't foresee being let through in this veto process. So I'm going to give you my predictions outright.
Hit me with it.
I think that this is going to be a pretty easy 3-map call for me at the end of it all. I think that it's going to be a nuke choice as a decider for no matter what. I think that will be the 3rd.
Okay.
I think we're going for that. I think that as far as the map pick goes for the side of Zealous, I think we're going to see a Mirage. And for the map pick of the opposite end on Anarchy, I think we might get a Dust 2, depending on whether or not they let that through. The Anubis first ban, though, might throw a spanner in the works for it. So depending on what they ban first, I think it'll be a little bit of a change-up.
All right, well, given that those are the predictions. Honestly, I think makes sense for a variety of reasons. Let's see where we actually ended up. We've got the veto ready to rock and roll as
all right,
pretty close.
Okay,
not bad.
Two for three. I'll take it. You see that it's actually a Dust 2 ban first, and that was kind of where I said it would get a little bit ugly, right? Because I actually thought Anubis would be the first ban, and I thought Dust 2 would be on the table. But seeing as that isn't the case, Inferno, I guess, makes some sense. I mean, we haven't actually seen a whole hell of a lot of this AAF team on it. You know, we haven't seen any of the Zealous team on it because we haven't actually watched them in the first place. So it's unknown to me as to whether or not they've gotten many reps inside or outside of this tournament for it. But even then, I think that it makes a lot of sense for the side of Zealous to go in for a Mirage later on, but I don't think that that necessarily calls them safe by any means.
Yeah, it was Nuke Ancient Mirage that Zealous played in the group stage of this event. So, you know, a lot of coverage there that at least they've been able to get reps on with this event
they were going
specifically. Yeah, it looks like we're just about ready to get started here with Inferno to start on AAF, getting their T-side start considering they picked into that. I am very excited to get this thing underway. Quarterfinals here at Operation Cupid kicking off with AAF and Zealous.
Kicking off very slow. Very quiet. They're just walking all across the map right now. And as they do, there will be the first of which of these players on the CT side to only hear what's happening in the alt of mid. But hearing is not going to be an option any longer when your head is blown off and away. The opening pick has been secured. AGN, who was absolutely stellar as an individual, let alone on one side of the map more often than not, and able to deal some damage. It looks like that will be true now on the apartments. It's 50 seconds in, they're the first. Again, left alone.
Yeah.
For good reason, like I said.
Lots of responsibilities, but it's big responsibilities for Roomba on this other side. Solo as well. And a pair of dualies that could absolutely do the damage. That's AGN again activating up ahead of this is Roomba. Good frag from him, and that's going to pull them away. Believe it or not, AGN's kill out on the other side of the map. Good for that, and leads them to an A bomb site that is now entirely emptied.
Hayden's going to get back to Archway, but getting back in through to the site when I don't believe that there is a kit that they can grab without getting a top of one of the bodies that have been killed. And that doesn't seem to be something that they'll be able to do. Anarchy was lying in wait for them to double up and run it. I think is perfectly planted for Anarchy to be able to find a couple of frags. They were honestly at what I felt like was more of a last resort if they were to go for that move. But first player to hit any contact points does it well. Finds them their first round, and you can already see that early in the morning the energy remains high. A little bit of a shout and yell there. Love to see it, Sasha and Twinkinator, who I think actually changed seats, if I'm not mistaken, from yesterday. Might have shifted one over.
Glad you're noticing that, because I definitely...
Oh, it actually might have just been the flip, because they were on left and right sides.
I see. Okay. Well, Zealous, I think doing a good enough job, considering that they were playing a man down from that point in the round, but AGN, as per usual, just getting so much value out of his lurking positions and calls the troops back over, sees a free and empty site. Why even worry about B when you have the A site in totality? It's forced by for Zealous. Well, that's going to be a pretty nicely timed nade. No, oh, they just separated. Retake continues forward with Roomba at the forefront. A big swing with the 5-7. No trade effective either. Though at least Lee does get chunked by a nade on the fall away.
Emerald AK looking to make it a little bit more of a group setting. Not trying to sit over on the other side of the map. Not this time. No real reason to be going for pick-apart kills when it feels like you're just a little bit light on your B-site load. The MAC-10 isn't the greatest portion for defense, and everyone else is stacked over at A in full confidence that it'll head back in that direction, similarly to how it had collapsed in the last. If they can just stuff them for a little while longer, but there's only 30 seconds, so that smoke, it's not going to send them back to the A site. They can't afford to just W key it back over to that direction without making a hell of a lot of noise, but what that's done is it's enabled Zealous to make a new move. They're right In key, one flash, Yabo, pardon, waiting to lob it over, and they're blinded by not the flash of an opponent, but it seems like it's one of their own. They melt them. A USP round accompanied by some HE grenades. Maybe a 5-7, but even then, that wasn't really the difference maker. I mean, in the first place.
I mean, the 5-7 did give them the opening pick, to be fair, but yeah, definitely limitations there for Zealous that should have been easy enough to overcome, and yet they walk in. Zealous get all the resources towards B by the time the execute is starting. Lift it up. We'll get a force buy back. No surprise at that out of AAF. Very impressive early round statement there from Zealous.
It's not going to stop Anarchy from calling the team to put some funding into this round. Still going to be active in some way, shape, or form with utility to boot with it. Dink onto Jakey, and now they've got a second guess as to how much they want to give over to lane. Incendiary missed, hits under the balcony, and as a matter of fact, it might actually play into their favor because I think the T's think that they got more room than they actually do. AGN walks his way out through the same angle, hoping that there's nobody who can see beyond the flames. That's not true. It's the second player who's going to be hit by some nade. This time, another Incendiary. This time over at B, though.
Yeah, Zealous pretty efficiently using their utility advantage in this round to kind of bully and jostle for position, forcing Anarchy into frustrating spots as well. Hayden pretty loud about that reposition. Not going to be punished for it, though. Great work from Hayden as he picks up a double activation as well from the coffin. And easy peasy cleanup against the force buy. Zealous do not suffer the same fate that they had just served up to AAF.
Looks like a tech timeout. Either way, though, T's got to save. Now they got to take a round back. Hopefully allow Anarchy a little bit of time to think up how they want to try and counteract whatever Zealous will have cooked up in their own regard, having flourished financially after having won the second and third round of the game as opposed to the pistol. And that SMG of Jakey to damn good use here, I can only imagine.
Yeah, it can be frustrating when you get into that start, make a next step, and then that goes wrong, so your pistol round advantage, quote unquote, just goes into the bin immediately.
Down the pooper.
Way to get back out of that after a force buy of your own fails.
Jakey at A. Not sure what the MAC-10 will actually get up to right now. Looks like it's just actually playing a little bit of support and close range proximity to Yabo as they can shoot off from one another's angles and make a hell of a lot of change, honestly and truthfully. 3K from it, and he's going to carry it over into this. I mean, we were talking yesterday about bonus rounds and what a true bonus round really looks like every now and again.
Yeah.
As opposed to a fake one. Like, this is as good as it gets. Like, there is a real scare right now when it comes down to AAF, because hypothetically speaking, if they save even one gun, if they're to lose this round and they get some kills, that would be crazy. But they're not even going to stick with it. They've thrown it away.
Yeah, well, I think that the reason that you were kind of noticing the difference in setup there, Jakey is the opper, so, just usually going to be floating, even though he didn't have the op in that round. But his extra cash from that SMG does let him get an AWP very comfortably, might I add. The fact that they're still doing well after that purchase, and Lee with a freebie, able to separate two teams. Anarchy about to go on a mission. Oh, he's got to be careful. That was the responsibility of Yabo. Failed in that responsibility, and now Jakey on a little bit of a tough spot. Though fortunately, he can drop a smoke and alleviate some of that pressure.
Banana periodically being jump spotted. Only one T at this point in time. Just Making sure nobody runs them down from the back lines as they take their brackets control. The bomb's in that area, and they've only got a certain handful of nades, and they're all, unfortunately, smokes. It's not going to be enough to actually blind anybody. It may restrict vision, but they're not going to be fully limited in what their crosshair to head potential still shows once entries need to be made. Still a little bit more focused in towards the apartments, but when nobody's seen in that hall, Roomba is going to be put under scrutiny and somehow actually still managing to find a kill. Jakey has given up their position, and they will be held. That bomb should be planted, and the rotate from Lee is going to need to maybe even fight through a smoke or reconnect from lane.
Yeah, I think it's the reconnect from lane type of angle, especially with Jakey still maintaining so much positioning inside of the apartments. Should be relatively clear to just walk this up without worrying about a flank from Boiler. But a post plant that's very powerful. AAF, not just a crossfire, a difficult position to break apart, and they're already finding that out. Lee cut down, and Jakey has no way to force his way out of this apartment. It's AAF to come away victorious and to show up in a very important gun round. Not able to take advantage of their pistol round. Well, immediately back into this.
No clear on Coldzera on that site following the flashbang. Kind of just whipping the mouse around, hoping to see primarily what was going on in Small Pit, and they get a little bit lost in that. It's unfortunate scenes. Jakey, though, fortunately, as mentioned, the player to save, and also with the highest priority weapon, means that they're buying this round, they're buying next round. Chances are, if they lose again, they're buying the round after that, honest and truthfully. As the bonus for being a loser only continues to grow, who says it doesn't pay to lose? Because it does, apparently. That's what we're teaching our kids.
That's what Counter-Strike is teaching you.
Participation trophies.
And such. Zealous.
Even though this isn't a kid's game.
Yeah. Like it stopped us, though.
Is that illegal to say?
Probably, but...
You were giving me advice yesterday.
That's true.
Legally, so I will now...
I gotta go get a lawyer, maybe.
Maybe. The Lincoln lawyer. Maybe.
That was the nicest alley-oop I ever had to get.
The Lincoln lawyer. We got 4 people on the A site right now, though, for the CTs. If there were ever a time for them to bunker down, this is quite literally like the apocalypse they've prepared for.
Oh my!
Switch to the knife! I don't know if you ran out of ammo or what, but that is unfortunate scenes, but it still hasn't seemed to matter because they still get it done. I guess it must have been an ammo finish because they got 2 kills with that clip.
Yeah, I really think that AAF just bodying up, playing together, it's a little bit of a...
It's a beautiful thing.
I was just going to say, it's like a little bit of a situation where they just play a death ball. Got to separate these 2 Ts. AGN for the pies. It's a great double swing. That's beautifully handled by AAF. They're going to break it open for 2 more in a row on the guns. And Zealous, yeah, they still ain't broke.
Don't fix it.
The fact that they've lost 2 rounds in a row, and they've had an op in both of them.
I mean, it's so insane to think that there's like no circumstances like this in Counter-Strike where you're going to get 4 or 5 gun rounds in a row. As a CT side that's losing.
Well, I mean, they've lost 2 in a row.
Right, but they got 4 gun rounds in a row.
Yeah.
Is what I said. And now they're losing in these rounds, and they're getting this many gun rounds. They got 2 gun rounds straight. They lost two, and then they're still getting another gun round. So 4 rounds deep with 2 rounds lost, and they've gotten an op and full rifles in every one of them. They've not even sacrificed so much as an MP9.
Yeah, and haven't really had to pay for it via utility either.
And look at the T's. They have, even after having gotten a victory, they're still operating on SMGs.
Yes, they are.
Which screams to me B. But.
A lot of A presence shown for AAF at the start of this round, and it's, I mean, just in the last 2 rounds, they have seen Zealous stack towards A in multiple different ways. Last round, it was this 4-man setup.
Can't believe it didn't work in hindsight.
Yeah, I can't either. But this is a good pivot. Start to test that A site once again. Leave AGN in the same position as always and outside of mid. Ready for this execute. It's not going to be the op here. And oh no, Lee has just walked away. So Roomba all alone. Got to use all these bullets that the A4 provides, but it's not quite on the target. Anarchy with the one kill that's probably just going to seal this round up.
Future safe. Have another gun round next round, man. Literally incredible. This will be 5 rounds in a row where the CTs have a full buy. This is so wild to conceive.
So I'm just going to say, you know, Anarchy apparently an accountant. I think Zealous might have him beat on the accounting duties.
Yeah, sure, but maybe it's time that he switches professions because he's got them beat on every other front.
You be the accountant.
They're counting the money and he's counting the wins.
And I'll take the Counter-Strike.
Yeah, he's counting rounds. Counting rounds at this point is what he's doing.
A round counter. Zealous. Looks like they will survive with all 4. So pretty important. Actually, if anyone goes down there, they would have been struggling, at least for a little bit of utility, I think. But without, they're happily going to attack on number 5.
Sasha up.
First that we've seen today.
I believe.
Yeah, didn't. Yeah, I mean, T-side op always got its difficulties.
He's got first spawn, too, so this is a match made in heaven. Maybe he's looking to get atop these barrels and just spot out a skull. Bang. Oh, almost close. First of those to hit, but there are 2 players still here, and Blinded takes a timing shot. Doesn't instantaneously fire off. Be careful. That had to be the escape plan, if nothing else, but they drop another nade, trying to keep them at bay. And all of it's done, actually, is brought them and invited them in further.
Yeah, it seems like Zealous really want to go back in for this. You could really argue that this is another save angle, but in they go. Sasha, this time, it's a missed shot. Not the opening that he had before. Plenty of utility here to try and clear him out. Eats another nade. There's, in fact, more to where that came from, but Yabo able to swing. Jakey trades onto the op, and so it's a 2-on-2.
That might be a bug. Did you see that?
What happened? I thought they extinguished it. Did they not intend to?
Could we get like we don't have replays functionality,
No.
do we? It looked like he threw the smoke and it bounced off the wall and it extinguished the molly that was on the ground.
Interesting. No, I didn't see the interaction.
Actually, did you see that? Am I crazy?
Seeing Ghost. There is a bug, I think, where occasionally if you throw a smoke that's like close enough to the ground where there's a molly, it'll just interact as if it's extinguished.
It like wasn't close to the ground though. It was like at the wall, like at eye level. Curious to see.
Tony's going to the stream to check it.
True.
We'll get the final information. But yeah, 2 men saved, and again, now they've done it. This is the infinite money glitch. This is my thing.
The infinite money glitch.
I talk about this all the time.
They're betting on GTA racehorses.
They've gotten the infinite money glitch, where they have successfully lost enough and saved money enough that they can just keep on buying as long as they save a couple of guns. What? Jakey! Oh my gosh, are you kidding me?
Come on, man, I was looking back at stream.
He just pulls back. The jump spot was seconds ago, and he just nails the headshot through the wall. It's a quick reaction, though, for AAF. They walk back over to A. Only 2 men here, a third joining, but maybe a little too late. Or not. Jakey, he's there, ready to roll.
Posted on.
Still posted, and Sasha gets vision before Jakey can even step forward. Zealous, shut this one down. We're saving again, baby.
You had quite the round that I was trying to pull up this foot smoke. I look up and all hell is broken loose across Inferno.
The dude next to you keeps yelling for some reason.
I got 2 ads. Just take my money.
It's not your money.
And I got in by the time they were saving.
And you suck. And you're terrible.
And I'm terrible. Well, clearly the AWP is now having a pretty important interaction on this round. Yeah, here.
Okay. Hold on. We're watching it back.
See that?
Live, pull it back up for me.
Oh. Okay, so Sasha kills the guy with the op, and then he gets traded, and then they pull a smoke to throw it towards CT spawn.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
It just blows up.
It was like well into the air. It's definitely that bug I was highlighting. But
it's so high.
Yeah.
It's a crazy bug.
Well, that's why it's a bug. But yeah.
Somebody report that crap.
Somebody get John Valve on the case. Jonathan Valvatron. We need him. What a recovery, though. I mean, AAF, start this with a pistol round victory. You think, okay, they're doing well. Then it's 3 straight rattled off for Zealous. Zealous have yet to save since then. They still won't be saving. This is insane. We're in round 10. And Zealous have lost 6 rounds, or 5 rounds straight, and have not saved once on the CT side.
Saving is for fools and cowards.
And chumps, maybe?
And Jame, who is quite possibly the greatest in-game leader of all time.
And now we're lying and a bandwagoner. That's the word.
Yeah, maybe. Well, currently I'm on the bandwagon of Anarchy's accounting firm after what has been an insane stretch. I mean, we use that word a little bit too much, so I'm going to stray away from it after that point. But he's been giving him at least a run for their money. It hasn't turned over very many around, but at least it's given them a look in. Now needing somebody else to step into those shoes. It has been Yabo as well as Lee. The both of them having just recently peppered in kills amidst the round, where making their way back with that bomb could be a good move if they see a split 2-2 between the bomb site hold, but not quite biting as Roomba still sticking around, and it looks like it's at the call of somebody else, because he was turning in that direction and then pivots back.
He's got the right read.
Perfect.
Oh, I think he was spotted, maybe. Yeah, absolutely was. Sasha holds the line. Now it's out to
Great call.
Lee. He could be anywhere, but he's going to be sitting in tree. Going to make himself a big opportunity, and he does swing true. It will be a breakthrough for Zealous. 2 opening picks will do that to you.
Yabo and Lee. I love a good smile on LAN. I want to get a white keyboard. I'm pretty good at keeping my white peripherals clean, actually. I've had the same white Superlight for like a year and a half, 2 years, and not even a single mark.
So I'm definitely just too lazy.
To what, clean it?
No, to just like keep up with it that much.
I haven't even cleaned it.
Okay.
It's just stayed because I don't like do grease and things like that.
I see. Okay. Just making smart decisions. Unfortunately, Roomba not able to make a better decision to be able to get out of there. He had teammates that were not quite in the way, but
yeah.
He thought that the incendiary wouldn't actually spread. But 1 for 1. That's the final tally. After the first stretch, 40 seconds in to round 11.
It's really not hard research to do, but I wonder which maps have the highest 4v4 conversion rates for Ts and CTs, because I can imagine that on Inferno it's a little bit difficult when you have to delegate your bodies, again, split practically down the middle on most of the time when you're in those situations, unless you've cleared greater ground. If you leave one at B, but they leave nobody in that direction, they bring it all over. It's Archway with 2 on either side. Get your bell rung, never saw the second. The bomb is let loose, and Lord of Pies, frankly, no matter how impressive these shots may look, I don't foresee them being able to pull it away for one reason and one reason alone. Even after they kill these 2 players on the left, even after they get atop of that bomb, there will be a third, and the time for them to get that bomb planted will simply be too short. They account for that. They spam in the smoke. They look to kill them early. 25 now, a fake run towards lane, but it's the C4 they know they need to hold. Jakey, even then, still looking back that way, but Hayden's the last line with 12 health. Can't do anything but stay alive. They need to stick up in it for just a few seconds more in a clothesline to kill out the 5th round. This half, not yet done.
It's a real nice adjustment and reposition there for Hayden in the last second. Knows that he's low, but there's just so much, so many angles that you can be on, so many little, like, cringe cubbies that you can be sitting in.
So many cringe cubbies.
There is, right there in spawn, no doubt. And so, you know, with 12 HP, that's the right move. Knows that the time is of the essence. Also, you know, Jakey just continuing to be a thorn in the side. You were talking about how difficult it is to convert 4v4s. Well, Jakey is one of those 2 players at A, and he's just nailing it there on mid.
Yeah, and look, I mean, sniping on this map sometimes can be what overtakes you a game, or at least a half, you know, and it hasn't really been that. Despite being 12-3, he hasn't like taken over the game. I mentioned it earlier, it was about 3-6. He already had 11 kills by that point, but that never came in those 3 rounds that they had won. It wasn't really that point in where he was getting all of his impact. That would have been, but they lose the rounds regardless. Now,
nice setup.
Now, as time goes on, we'll see Jakey on the T side, hopefully for his sake, actually keep at that pace, and they can help through this bomb site. They shouldn't have a problem of killing out at least one more player. There's no smoke at Moto, and there's still one here to play contact off. AGN a fake plant. Still an opportunity, though, with guns on the ground.
Yes, incredibly winnable. He's going to stick around with this. They're just going to tag team, walk in together. No need for nades, but a one tap right to the face. AGN, a little bit of a missed shot there. Lee getting cold feet, doesn't want to overstep, overcommit, but he's doing so. He gives AGN a chance that he will regret.
I can't imagine how they must feel. I was thinking to myself, oh, the Galil, that's all right. There's an AK close. Could switch to that. How about the M4? How about scrap all that? Why not pull the pistol, the sidearm to send them home? Listen, Zealous might be over with a play like that as AGN begins to heat up. That's not the player that you want to do so, and I'll hark on it again and again and again. As we progress throughout this series, I'm thinking all the way as far as Nuke, but we're already on map number 1 and seeing it. AGN, as a player left on an island, if he can be self-sufficient, he's creating a civilization. He's building the pillars, the foundation of something great, and it doesn't matter where you leave him. He'll leave you absolutely speechless when it comes to his ability to multi-kill.
Yeah, and honestly, just not even has to multi-kill, but does anyway.
Yeah,
you know,
one,
he's doing well usually to get one. Like that's what your goal is if you're in his type of position, and yet he's doing so much more than that. And tack on a clutch to that to ensure that AAF pick up a lead into the second half. Their more preferred side, I can only imagine, as the CT on the way. Well, this is going to be awfully simple. One smoke, one flash for Zealous. Stark contrast, AAF have tons of util, deploying some of that already. Big fight into apartments as AAF fight bedroom. Anarchy gets his in mid, falls back, a 1-for-1 trade, but that won't be for long. Jakey's P250 ringing and sounding like it's going to be tacking on more. Jakey opens the A site on his own. And at this point, I mean, AAF, they have some utility to try and get back in here, but no kit.
There are few things scarier in the game of Counter-Strike than an AWP player's P250. Very, very few things. When you hear that weapon, when you know who's holding it, that's when you have to start to wonder, should I take this fight?
You know who taught me that?
Who taught you as an opper?
No, that is true.
Who is that?
Flom. Actually.
Yeah, like you watch him and you see his P250 pulled and you're like, damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. I mean, like, simple. That's a pretty prime example.
Yeah.
Zywoo.
Well, I mean,
I'm going to the highest level.
I know. Listen, obviously, you know, those guys for sure.
But Flom as a first is
but I'm just like,
reasonable.
Yeah, you just watch that guy stream and you're like,
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think Alu had a pretty good P250 for a while there, if I'm not mistaken, too.
I think you're right.
I remember that was a good one.
Tragically, P250. How long ago was that P250 nerf? Like so long ago.
Oh, way long ago. Well, the only nerf was that you can't one-shot headshot somebody at any range.
I know. That was like 3 years ago now?
Thank God. No. I think it was like 7, 8 years ago now.
No way.
Yeah, it had to be before 2020.
Hold on. We're getting into the research.
I would say the most long ago it could have been is 5 years. No less than 5 years.
I am famously bad at guesstimating like how long things happen in Counter-Strike.
One-shotting people with a P250 as recently as the sound update they did to the guns. Back when Hiko was, streaming it and the P250, he was like, it sounds like a paintball gun. Maybe I'm insane, but...
Hold on, we're going to find out.
I'm just going to cast the round whilst you do.
Yeah, I mean, we had a
USB, the one single pistol with utility on Lord of Pies, but they're already all stacked on the other side of the map, so we can afford to have a conversation. Chat, let us know in the comments down below what you think. Remember to like, subscribe, and follow. Make sure you guys follow Game Arena Co. on all social media platforms. Donate to your local animal shelter. And
one of these things is not like the other, but I do think that's a good idea.
Yeah. Are you having trouble finding it?
Yeah.
All right. Well, then you cast. I'm good.
Okay, man. What round? Poor guys, they're dead and out. Lord of Pies, maybe could steal one away. Speaking of a P250, will claim another life. How much damage? Just going to be that. Both he and Sasha go down, but AGN carries over a single Galil.
Holy adpocalypse.
I know.
All right. Here we go.
Hit me.
In 2017, it increased base damage, reduced armor penetration, improved damage over longer distances, and then reduced accuracy while moving. So I'm assuming
that sounds like a buff overall.
I'm pretty sure it's the reduced armor penetration that disallowed you from killing players in one shot.
Ain't no way it was that long ago.
2017. Listen, man, I was just
so old.
I would have been baffled if I was playing this game at that point in college and running around with a P250. But listen, this is just a distance where AGN on a rifle can actually make them mince meat. I mean, flashbangs, predominantly ineffective, it looked like, from Zealous there. I saw them popping, but he wasn't even like a quarter blind.
Yeah, it also helped that he was like fading away, like he wasn't committed.
Changing up his angle,
yeah, he wasn't committed to an angle, so it's kind of hard. What a ridiculous timing for Sasha to just break through that smoke and come back out, tap away, steal one. And Roomba. Hold on a second. Yabo. Not going to check Moto. Could have been everything right there if Yabo checked Moto, but does not, and it will not mean much for Zealous, who broke through, pistol round, followed that up with an easy enough eco, or anti-eco more accurately. First gun round doesn't work so well, and guess who? It's AGN. They're highlighting him this time, not in a lurking presence, just a very nice hold there on the long side.
Again on his own, though. Doesn't need a flash, doesn't need a teammate to swing with him. That's the kind of self-sufficiency, the kind of autonomy that you kind of need as a Counter-Strike player a lot of the time, and I think that's something that will go very underrated or maybe just underseen by a lot of people. And this is a decent gun to hold on to for this next round if he can. I mean, Twinkinator is going to be just tucked into this corner. They're just going to be waiting out the time. There's no possibility for the clutch, just a little bit of additional damage, or even just a pre-fire, pre-shot through that corner side wall.
Did they get him? Yeah, they got him before. Well, they're going to be buying, but money is actually really rough here for Zealous.
Money. I like money.
Calm down, Mr. Krabs.
Why did you decide to open up the Krusty Krab 2? Money.
Easy.
Why did you decide to open up Dust 2? Cash.
A early banana fight out of Zealous. They set their sights on, but though they get car control. Actually, I'm not going to call it for free. Investment was there, but not a big fight behind it for AAF.
Just taking precautionary measures to ensure that if they were tucked at sandbags or anything of the sort, that they would be flushed out either into the open or back into the site. You know, and playing with Tech 9s and Mac 10s, you also kind of have to be like that, unless you want to just flash in and hope that you win your aim duels. But it's a little bit of Hayden's potential downfall to rely on the success of this round, considering that Anarchy could very well be killed from either of these directions. The flashbangs are extraordinary. It's just the entries that are a little bit staggered, a little bit delayed, a little bit of damage already having been done, but Sasha can't turn all across the board. The pit player gets nothing. That might just be the save at the snap of your fingers, and we go 8-all once more at this tie-up. And a buy that was, again, pretty heavy, leaned on B utility-wise at the start, and then bomb and flashes over A, only damage that they will take, nothing else.
How in the world is that the way it goes down, though? Because those flashes, you said perfect, but the incendiary from Anarchy was also beautifully timed. That's why there wasn't initial follow-up on that. So those flashes are all nullified just by that incendiary, and then they go.
I think Sasha was just a little bit hesitant to actually go for a wider peak because of the numbers. You know, Anarchy was in small pit, not big pit, so they couldn't actually actively help them in any way either. Maybe if the roles had been a little bit reversed, if, you know, the player in big pit was there and then he was on the default box, it could have been a better peak, but he was really just hoping that Anarchy would have his cross into the site, which didn't happen because he died. Sasha then wrapped on both sides of that box. There's not a world where he can get even more than one, realistically. So it was tough. I mean, I think that it was a combination of those flashbangs just kind of stalling either of those two players from getting anywhere a little bit more comfortable, as well as the fact that Anarchy goes down, not able to help Sasha in his cross in towards lane to site.
No ability to reposition definitely makes it hard to be comfortable in those positions. AAF.
I ain't bad.
Comfortably able to get back in for a purchase. Lee Taking a little bit of flack, but ultimately just fine. Once again, the B defense is, I would consider it a little bit passive. Throw some initial utility just to make sure, let them know that you're there, but there's no fight from AAF. Two-man setup in bracket. It's a tucked setup as well. Zealous doing a really good job in the first 40 seconds of making sure that they have shown presence everywhere. But in doing so, they've invested a lot of their utility to get to that, and they don't have bracket currently. There's one flash left for the rest of this round.
One flash could be a difference maker even still, but on this post corner that they definitely do like, both on T and CT sides and post plants and seemingly on their site holds. That MP9 getting its one, kind of the best case scenario for it. It would have been a little bit crazy to ask for him to do much more than that, as well as information on to the next of them. Anarchy not being overrun on the A site is an early indicator that they could be either rotating towards B or have somebody ready to activate on an extremity, and that somebody will be Lee. Just already in that corner, waiting to see if somebody will either rotate in or out of the bomb site, and waiting long enough, they've been delivered exactly that.
Yeah, Lord of Pie is handing that over, and now AAF, I mean, I wouldn't be sad to see them make the decision just to save on this one. And they are going to finally make that decision. Twinkinator doesn't see much of anything. And though he had a kit, the rest of his teammates did too. There is just no utility to help facilitate getting back into this bomb site. Twinkinator might also go down here.
Probably. Not. Lol.
Baited.
Oh. There's another shot. Gave it a wee look in. All will live from that point in the round on. They will hold their peace. This game not even remotely decided or determined, though. It just enters the stressful point for probably the communication of these players, where you hope that they can keep their cool. Speaking of communication, I like to see the direct eye contact between one player to another amidst that timeout. Zealous going down the line and making sure that everybody knows what's up next. Even after the win, it's not done as we say, so they need to be in that same mindset. Job's not done. A lot of comms going down. Not a waste of a timeout in the slightest.
No, Zealous, they've got ideas on ideas on ideas. Anarchy, you know, we were talking about the money management situation for Zealous. They've actually done a pretty damn bang-up job themselves with that same thing, being able to continue to get buys even as they've gone back and forth.
That's what I'm saying. They're the better of the two teams in that regard all game long. Hasn't stopped.
No, Zealous were the ones in the first half.
I know that we're doing a great job.
And I'm saying Anarchy are doing.
You said Zealous.
Okay, my bad. But Anarchy are doing a very solid job here. We get everything that they want, just minus a couple of bits of utility. Lord of Pie is going to be more aggressive. Finally taking the fight to the T's on Banana. Been talking about it constantly that this has been slower. I just want to get in there. Nate going to tag Lee down heavily, still trying to find a way to get vision, to formulate this fight. Flash prepped. Now that's Twinkinator, I think, throwing it. Jakey loses his vision. Quick trade, but Hayden, he too falls. Lee has to be the recovery, and he won't be there.
That's such a tough spot to be in as the player who was already taking on all the damage in Lee. His teammates behind him die, and he's saying to himself, I have to do something. I'm already here. They know that I'm here. They know that I'm at least somewhat low. I was right on the precipice of being fragged down, and even going further into apps, AGN discovers Roomba with his knife out. Like taking candy from a baby, from a Jakey. Was it Jakey who died? No, it was Round.
No.
But either way, if Jakey had any candy, it would be Anarchy's.
It'd be AGN's.
It'd be somebody's.
He would have taken it. This up. Okay. I'm not going to say safe, but at least safer.
That's a long time.
Yeah, it really is, especially with how close Sasha is located. He's under the bridge.
Mission impossible, mission impossible.
Trolling around under there, Sasha.
Name's Duel. Yabo Duel.
Oh my gosh, wait.
Took my option. Saving. Not stirred. Oh my god, 5 seconds. The door opened and closed. The reload, but the second of these players not even near enough by, and it is about as close as it could be. Walking the line on the wire.
At least going to be able to walk that tightrope for Zealous to continue to move forward with these purchases. Big change for AAF in that round for the B bomb site hold, getting so much more aggressive on Banana. They've been 2B at the start. That one had 3. A lot more utility to help chunk down Lee. They're going to go back to that same idea. Want to stick to it. This time Zealous not as committed as they were. Oh, poor Lee. Gets nowhere. It's just the spam. I like this adjustment for AAF.
Big fan of adjustments. Flash that is heard by AGN going over towards mid, but dodged. Nobody's going to go with it, but they will after the fact. But it's a 1-2 punch. It's Anarchy first, then he will have his time. But no, actually shoulder spot at the scene. Still not easy to clear out, especially when he does have another in support. But Anarchy has turned. They're out of ammo. Might be out of time. No hit from Sasha. They've not dropped just yet. Then hurt to hit the ground. And just enough time to readjust. It's Jakey. Ready with Banana, ready with the bomb, and ready potentially to turn onto a clutch. There's nobody here. They'll get post-plant positioning, but what will they actually look to do before or after is the question. But it looks to be the before.
Jakey feels like he just has to get a little bit more from that for that to be winnable. And I don't know whether I fully agree, but it's entirely understandable.
I want to see where the money was at. I think a bomb plant would probably have been a little more important.
Yeah, it would. It definitely would have been a big deal. But he also doesn't know how much space he has.
Not the end of the world, but would have given them at least a conversation for a buy.
Yeah, though maybe for the best that's not the case, because Eco here pretty nicely puts them still within the right distance to make the recovery happen.
And getting a couple of kills here also just keeps their opponents reinvesting time and time. A little bit of a block. That HE landed atop the 2 of them. I thought that was a dink. Like it was the shine of the animation, but now he needs to get out of harm's way or just get another kill, maybe even that 3rd. He does have a teammate on rotate, so
and he wants more.
Could get cute. Hold your breath. Okay. All right.
I don't hate the B rush even. Obviously, on lesser weapons, it's always going to be difficult to find the right call. But also, AAF have been so aggressive these last 2 rounds on Banana. There's the potential to be able to punish them.
Keep in mind, this is also AAF's pick.
Of course.
So they want to walk away with this one above all else, and it's getting to a stage where it's not certain by any means, but Mirage on the docket after. You love to start with a map up on your opponent's choice with a side advantage, and one we've already seen them play to a pretty solid degree. So that's a big thumbs up for me for AAF if they do take this point. I think Zealous would have had a very, very nice chance in this series if they could have taken Inferno to start with, though.
Well, I'm right there with you. I mean,
like, I think I could have seen it closed in 2 for them, but now I'm seeing the opposite potentially true.
Well, here's the gun around. The save into this. The Zealous been able to put together buy after buy, but now having to put those down for just a moment. Back in business, into the swing of things. Aggressive setup in the apartments. Stuck into boiler. Actually, they've left. Pardon me, AAF. Instead, going to boost up onto porch. But it's the op there. Another great setup, not just the traditional high-low, and in fact, they might just stick with that. AGN's coming back.
Just a 3-lane setup. Pretty standard issue. Not going to be walked in on by Archway. Not going to be allowed to get up into the lane. And Lee pressuring a B, as we've seen them do many a time before. Keeping them wondering. Keeping their heads scratched. The smoke will soon fade. Will they stick to this setup is the question. It would need to be allowed to get off of it for Anarchy, but dodging the flash, seeing one over the tops of the smoke. No refrag, no adjustment spray, only Hayden's finding a double. But do they think that there is another? They should. That's a pretty easy read to make, and over the flash will go. AGN unblinded by it, typically unfazed, but this time faltering, falling without even a 1. And that sees Zealous right back into it. No map point for AAF.
They ain't done. Target towards A. What I would have considered a pretty prime setup as well initially on that port side, but doesn't quite work out like AAF had intended. Hayden breaks through, and it's he that does all the damage, all of the fragging. For Zealous in this one. Come and save, just look at the money. Oh, they're good. They're so good. Able to continue this investment even further beyond.
Crazy to think that Lee starts in Banana and finishes in CT spawn.
Double digits for Zealous. 4th and 5th seed. I mean, we knew that this had the potential to be an incredibly close best of 3, much less map 1. But yeah, here we are. Map 1 that's going the distance. Adjustments once again. Zealous liked what they saw over towards this A site. Obviously successful last round, so they go back to that. Their default now set up around getting apartments control at the beginning.
As opposed to secondarily. Seeing that AAF themselves are also a little bit farther spread, it would be simple to isolate one of these 3 duels, and the utility would supplement it. A matter of a molly, but not the flashes. You don't want to burn those because we've seen this happen before where they've limited themselves early, and they're actually going to be even more limited now that they've lost Jakey. The op the op. Sasha will hit him. A flash now only for Roomba, so their entry points going to be limited, going to be strictly on the execution and the execution only that they can let that one fly.
They've got the read. 3 here, a 4th, right in position. Come back in here, Twinkinator. Sasha, first step. Already nailed the first shot onto Jakey. This is a second one. Goes back for a wee swing that maybe is a little bit too much. But Twinkinator, a very nice spray. And he goes for more through the smoke. AAF, they are going to step in for 12.
Put your headset back on, man. Okay. You heard me.
That was the problem. That's why I had to put it back on.
Didn't have in-ears on. You could hear them. Cheating.
Well, Zealous, frustrating loss. Jakey, who's had an incredible map overall, hasn't had a lot of head-to-heads against Sasha, especially not op v op. Well, how about that one? Sasha comes away in such a critical round. 1 Mac-10, 1 Tech-9. Zealous are working with such limitations. They're gonna have to make this work.
A little bit of an awkward timing as Twinkinator rounded the corner. The half-wall flash hits perfectly. We see them on another man up, but nobody looking at the balcony until AGN has gotten it. Looks easy and simple to just pin them one after another into a 5 versus 2 turn. Actually, a site under a little bit of grief. AGN turns on the side, and Sasha will wrap it. Gotta make sure that those headphones are on, though. Keeps having that one ear cup off. That was in the middle of a round, too. Yeah. Sorry, I'm a man of integrity.
I think they are very separated, just for the record.
Okay.
Yeah. But nonetheless, yeah, an impressive win. I feel like a struggle to get into the mix initially, but the bounce back was massive right there from AAF. They recovered nicely, and then onto the CT side. Oof. That was more of a brawl, but what are we oofing about?
A little bit of disappointment, head shake, a little bit of a blank stare at the monitor now after they've taken in the first map of 2, and that wasn't even their own choice.
Yeah, and it was close, too. I think no need for long faces on that one, really. Yeah. You know, definitely maybe missed an opportunity or 2 on the second half, but in general, I think Zealous played a good Inferno.
Yeah, I mean, but still, long games lost typically do tend to feel a bit bad. I mean, even if you feel like you played well, it's a matter of win or lose. It doesn't really matter if you get the Again, we were talking about it before, a participation trophy. Coming from a player perspective, there's not a really easy reason for them to keep their chins up after a game like that immediately afterwards, but coming refreshed for the second map after the break is really what matters.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. And they have a few minutes to do that with Mirage up next. We have seen AAF be willing to play a Mirage, so there is that to kind of touch on. Definitely not a freebie by any means for Zealous, but I'm pretty happy about the way that Zealous performed. I think that they did well. The biggest frustration, I think, for me, as a spectator, more was that you had such a strong performance out of Jakey that you weren't able to take advantage of fully.
Yeah. And I think that was kind of what I had alluded to entering from halves 2 into, or 1 into 2 rather, is that he was having a good time, but he wasn't actually winning his team rounds, and his team weren't winning the rounds he was giving them chances in. And then when you turn it over and he's doing still decent, right, to good, to even in some instances, I would say great, he's just getting sometimes still outbeat by Sasha in those moments where he was starting to heat up little by little. The rifles weren't effectively able to trade, and the space that they would take, it seemed like there was always a room to regain. And that's always something on Inferno that feels like it's the most choking, right? The most difficult to breathe when it comes down to you just being consistently wrapped upon. And even in scenarios where the stacks were favoring the defense, they were still being broken down every now and again. Think back to, I think it was the second half, the four-player A stack.
Yeah,
I believe.
It was. And AAF on the CT
yeah,
side.
and they managed to make their way through that. So if you can make your way through that, you can make your way through almost anything. And then it just comes down to really where the nuances lie in the mid to early round. Because if you're executing on a bomb site and winning against the stack, that's got to be a good omen, right? It's just everything else that surrounds that was a little bit questionable.
I think more AAF centric a little bit. Let me turn the conversation just because I think that on the CT side, their stacks were more often than not in the right location. They think they made a really nice mid-game adjustment too with regard to their banana control. Yeah, I think that they consistently were not getting beat there, but they were just hands off. They were starting 3A, and so they changed over to starting 3B, a little bit more traditional rather than more aggressive, and actually vying and brawling for that space. Got a lot more respect, and then once that happened, they also became more efficient at being able to stack the correct bomb site. So I think that mid-game adjustment out of them, very impressive, something that AAF shows that their experience and why they picked into a map like Inferno, because mid-game adjustments are always the hardest, because you first got to realize what's going wrong and then know what the right step is to fix it.
I'm sure there's more we could pick apart. I'm sure there's more that we could break down, but we, like the players, have to come with a reset mind and a refreshed palette coming into map number 2 in just a little bit. We will return.
A tight quarterfinal matchup is what it looks to be. We have Zealous not quite able to pull off an upset over on AAF's map pick, but Mirage is coming up next. Tony, very close indeed. I think Zealous had some good looks, but AAF ultimately able to overcome those as their CT side got flowing.
Felt like there was certainly some room for discussion across the entirety of that game where it could have been the turn. I mean, it was never a clear-cut finish at that second half. It never felt like the game was getting away from either party. Back and forth, round after round, even on turns in where I think we were kind of exchanging moments where it was just like, well, Team A should have won that round, but Team B took it, and then inverse of that just as well. And not necessarily because they were throwing by any means. It was just some, Herculean efforts, maybe a missed nade, maybe things as, simple as a multi-frag from a position you're only expected to get one. And I think we saw a number of those that excite me to see the future of this series, let alone on Mirage, but potentially the nuke, because I will continue to keep the door open for that third map.
Yeah, the door is absolutely open, but of course, Mirage has to go Zealous's way to get to that point. And I think with Mirage in particular, I'm pretty pumped to see more of the head-to-head that we didn't really get to actually see on the AWP. Sasha and Jakey. Jakey had a really, really good map, and even continued that, I feel like, onto the T side, just not nearly as much. It was fine on the T side, really impressive on the CT side, and we didn't get to see a lot of head-to-head. I think in reality, Mirage is going to lend itself to that a lot more.
I think definitely that is going to be the case. And as we, again, very swiftly and quickly get ourselves into maps, this has been a very rapid-fire event thus far, and it doesn't stop to cease to amaze.
Amazing start for AAF initially. Immediately bouncing back with Zealous. That was on Inferno. See if the pistols will be an indicator. Eyes on for Roomba into sandwich position. 3 now at A. The split is going to get started. Smoke bottom of Con. to allow them to get back up there. AGN has to fall back, will make his way out. Still yet no frags happening on this A bomb site. Finally get activated. It's misses on misses on misses there for Lord of Pies. Oh no, indeed. Twinkinator can't find the headshot, and it is body shot bandits across the board here for AAF.
Back turn players, man. Back turn players.
Whiffingtons is a real disease, dude.
Whiffingtons?
Yep.
I've never heard of this, actually.
It's a disease where you can't shoot people who aren't looking at you.
Oh, okay. Is it, what is it, like degenerative? Is it a virus? Is it a bacteria? Can you take, you know, pills for it?
Well, like there's no cure.
Rest and
no, there's no cure.
No?
We're working on the solutions, but
how does it activate? How does it trigger?
Well, when somebody is not looking at you and you have to try and shoot them in the game of Counter-Strike
every time it happens.
Well, it can.
Okay.
You know, it's sort of like a situation of like personal improvement. Like you can
like flare-ups.
Yeah, kind of like that. It's like a skin condition of sorts.
Like sometimes you just get a little bit flustered and then you just start whiffing.
Yeah, you get a little jittery and then your aim goes off. Yeah.
And your vape calls your name.
And then you're in trouble because you're hallucinating.
All right, well, one in the way of that Zealous, who don't desperately need it, but certainly will be accepting of it as they enter this map, as an AK melts down through mid, bottom side of that close wall, eventually swung onto, not a lineup necessarily, but just close enough in the range of vision to where it will be a simple and swift dispatching of AAF outside of the captain, Bader.
Captain.
Guys, you all rush mid, I'll sit con.
Good idea. I don't think he's going to get anything else, unfortunately, either. 1 HP. 1 health, literally. Oh, they made the escape for a moment, but right into the backstab from Jakey. Free and clear. Zealous don't lose a single body on the anti-eco. And AAF will not be working at AWP in the first gun round as you would expect. One kill total over those 2 rounds.
It's okay. Again, very early days.
Of course.
That's what happens when you play a round of 10 USP, or 2 rounds of 10 USPs. I had a P250 last round. I think I heard firing behind Sasha. But
What is this M4? I saw it last time. So cool.
yeah, that's pretty cool. Out of this world.
One might say.
Smoke to an incendiary or Molotov more accurately that has hit beneath the balcony to try and open and kill, and not actually having found that player, changing their position, exposing themselves to Twinkinator, who will still go down, but makes it still a questionable hold. That Molotov is going to have to be preyed upon by Lord of Pies. That it doesn't spread, but it looks like he actually plays in the middle of it in hoping to find not only a kill, but solace in saving, but 2v2, there is no save.
Oh man, AGN trying to pivot back and forth, trying to find a way to make his way through, but that is a fantastic find out of Anarchy. Just gonna pop the smoke down. That there's a lot of utility that he's deploying whilst out in the open. Now, just a couple of bullets.
Oh gosh.
Yabo is swinging with his pistol, but not yet ready to shoot it. Yikes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of yikes over the course of that whole clutch, actually.
Yeah, it was certainly a bit of a eyebrow raiser, butt clencher. But 3 rounds for Zealous at this stage has got to feel pretty nice, knowing that they're also working up against another one, to which won't really have all the fixins.
Be push, be rush. This can always be a little bit of a weird call against a half-buy or an eco, which is what it is, but it is going to be only one. Plucked out of that Twinkinator is Deagle. He's to a smoke, got a little timing. He's got help, but he's now down. Lord of Pies will not be around for long, and Zealous should be happy to pick up 4 straight rounds.
A little bit more money, please. Sasha just hoping that they're going to try and get on top of them, but damage taken through the corner side box spam means that it's all the more simple for the swing. The last of them through door. Easy wrap. AK's making it happen, and the last time that they had a MAC-10 carried into the second of these gun rounds, they threw it away for an op. This time, looks like they will continue to hold on to it. A valuable asset as they continue to build their cash flow and break that of their opponents who have 2 players without head armor. I can't imagine that'll actually come to be that great a factor for Lee. He'd have to get pretty damn close for it to, so another B action. It's a bit slower, though, a little bit more silent.
I actually really like this call. You run it B fast on that round where, you know, there's not a lot of risk, and then you try for something a little sneakier. Molly gets dropped. AGN arriving just ahead of the smoke. Great trade from Hayden. There won't be more where that came from as Anarchy posts up a double. Yabo needs this immediately, tries to recenter this fight, and does so. Yabo with an important duel. His second of the round, grabs the bomb, and Twinkinator comes back in from Cat. Oh, that's a little bit too early. Sasha ahead of Twinkinator. Jakey's position made known, but Twinkinator cannot win that fight. So it is once again a round for Zealous up the back of Jakey.
This is getting kind of wild. Back and forth we sway. I think Anarchy's double should have been enough. It's 3 kills on your B bomb site hold.
Yeah.
It doesn't get any better than that.
No.
It simply does not. Obviously, outside of just killing everybody, but, you know, if we're talking about levels of expectation, 2 kills is like bottom level. That's what you kind of need. 3 kills should be the point in which your rotators back in a way have been bought enough time, as well as being able to unite. That's the last thing that Anarchy's team does, is unite. They seem a little bit too far spread, too thinly separated. This kill on kill has been control that Zealous don't fully know about just yet, and they're still dedicating utility into reclaiming and also recalling Roomba. Thank you very much, Sasha, for going on recon.
Anarchy look a little lost right now. They look like they're out of this game, actually. When the reality is that they're not at all. Decisions as if, you know, there's no trust there. That's kind of what it felt like when Sasha is taking that swing. Anarchy able to post up a couple of more kills. Surely nothing above that, and it won't be. So in a losing effort, Anarchy claims 2 more, but still a dominant opening salvo. 6 straight.
Were you referring to when Sasha had gone through the market window?
Correct.
On the retake? Okay, I thought you meant at ramp. I was like, no, that makes sense.
No. Well, but also, not specifically that, but also a different problem I feel like is that ramp push where, you know, you're losing bodies, and instead of trying to like group and maybe just stack something, you're just pushing extremities alone.
She also doesn't have a what are these called? String coming through his hoodie.
Okay,
It looks like he's either lost it in the wash or
he's just quite stylish and it didn't have one.
No, that's not stylish. You can't close your hoodie. Forget style. It's functionality you're missing there.
Spoken truly like someone who needs to close his hoodie.
Sometimes.
Just don't be cold. Smile.
Welcome to Atlanta.
I'm a genius.
Yeah. GA stands for Georgia now. It's the Georgia CS LAN.
That's where we're at.
Oh, okay, but talking about where we're at and where we should be, I mean, the smoke is then faded. They're in the corner side, tucked in the window. It's not the opper, it's the rifler, hoping that nobody will go clearing all any wider. Once it is gone, Yabo is all the way through underpass.
Oh, and here we go again. I mean, Sasha, his reaction consistently is just to push on an extremity. This time, it's successful and a lot more reasonable when he has an op.
Yeah.
So a successful refrag. Unfortunately, it's not going to end there. Yabo goes down after his 2 kills. I like this from Zealous. Group back up. Look for a rehit. Sasha gave up all of that space in apartments that he had just picked up, so it's a gamble for Anarchy, and he's gambling wrong. He's going to be sticking over to the B site where just Twinkinator worried about A.
patient, very static. Hopefully they don't fall asleep at the wheel right here. They haven't really. They did get the first shot off, but the AK, its accuracy, one-shot potential, it will matter. It will turn the tide of the potential of a retake probably towards a save. They have one kit. Anarchy gets up Khan, ever closer to Sasha, but nobody is budging from Zealous, and the bomb timer about to hit halfway tick. That nade could be good. No, Lee instead under balcony.
Miruma taking flak left and right actually just gives his position away, but that actually is going to work out because he can then swing Lee on the secondary. And it is a free round, or at least it feels that way for Zealous. They did have to suffer through a little bit of adversity, but in the 3-on-3, had the right read, had the right call, and played the post plan to perfection. This is AAF's first time out. We saw one before, but that was from Zealous. It was 2 rounds ago, I think. Feels like a little bit late in my mind. We'd seen a very nice mid-game adjustment from AAF on Inferno. We credited that to, I think, a significant portion of how they were able to close out that map. What's the adjustment here?
I mean, Sasha is constantly having to be the reactor. I think that's the problem. What has Sasha seen? Nothing. Sasha's not been the first player to find a player, not been the first player to die to a player. Getting Sasha somewhere where they can actually maybe see somebody in the first or at least second stages of a round would be nice. Not having to be the player to try and pull the round back. They peer out into mid and see nothing. How long they'll stick around is beyond me, but they're at least in the vicinity of what is to go down. Great elevated position there to see into underpass, and there's Sasha also responsible for holding in towards top mid. And everything works as intended.
Well, there's that adjustment. I mean, it's exactly what you were highlighting. It's also just a lack of respect from Zealous with regard to their mid default utility. They don't have any of it, really. It's just the window smoke. They don't get out top mid with the top mid smoke. So everything happening a little bit late for Zealous, and then they don't have any flashbangs to try and actually help those swings when they do come through. So it's right into the op, and it's Twinkinator with a creative little elevation to get him the opening pick, though he does get traded.
Still on. Lord of Pies has no problem. Just waltzing into their untimely demise, I can only figure. As with 30 seconds left on it, they don't have the bomb, all this utility, but all that money in the reserves to the point where it might just be better to look for damage. It gets damaged. First round, CT side only just now getting on the board, but they can still make this a respectable enough half, a reasonable one to where they can draw the distance, but anything greater than 8 for Zealous, and I'm going to have to start to already think about what the future might look like on Nuke. Anything greater than 8, and I think that CT side defense may need to return back to the drawing board in the offline.
Another different approach here with some aggression to it too. Saw that in mid last round. Now it's just an early take to get into ramp. Nobody spotted, and there's still a lot around this. Twinkinator still stepping forward. Nobody is responsible for this hold whatsoever. Nobody seeing, nobody hearing apparently, even with the flash. Jake and Hayden both get out of Palace, and it's a big double from Hayden, turning this around. It was a fantastic opening salvo out of Anarchy in order to get 2 on A, but now a post plant.
It actually gets across even in towards spawn, playing at the front side of those missiles. Sasha won't see him unless he backs up, unless he stutter steps into his direction at the stairs, but I don't know if that'll happen. I think they're just playing for trades on spawn. As soon as Anarchy is to go in, ooh, it will be a great flank, actually, and that's going to need to turn their attentions back. They're going to need to look in towards this site, and that's when Anarchy will strike. Jakey calmed, communicated, out of ammo, Glock in hand, dealing with Anarchy. The time so damn low. I think he might have done it. There's no head armor for AGN either, and there's no time, more importantly. It's done. 8. And ring around the rosy, around triple will be how it's converted.
So uncomfortable once AGN gets that flank going. Once they get into a position where they can then break back through, they have so many different positions, Zealous, that they need to worry about. Both CT, the move from stairs, the same true from the flank of AGN. And yet still, Anarchy not able to get away with a victory. Hayden with 2 miraculous kills. The attack up for Jakey. Another 1v2 clutch. Pulled one off already on this T side. He's got another one in round 9.
It broke somebody's PC. It broke someone's computer. It broke Jakey's computer. The clutch was so good. It fried it.
He's frying.
Yeah. I suppose. Looks like somebody is having a little bit of a personal issue, actually. Food poisoning, potentially. I've seen this before on LAN, and I watched the player not only play out, lose, but top score by like 20 kills. And it seems like the blame is on Sheets.
That's true.
I've never had Sheets.
It's got to be Sheets because, you know, what would I say? Like Wawa is better or something?
Something like that. But that game I was talking about, it was in Shawniac, if you know who that is. Or in Saniac, you know?
Yeah, I do.
Yes,
I do.
IAC, and we brought the garbage bin to his computer, and he would be like actively vomiting in the middle of rounds.
Poor guy.
3Ks in with the op. Yeah, it was crazy. It was actually crazy. It was at Launder's Land 2.
That guy's incredible.
Or Launder's Land 1.
That might be... Listen, they talk about the flu game.
I'm going to see if I can pull up the stats for you just while we're in this intermission.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it. That is insanity.
Literally the Michael Jordan flu game.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was just trying to find what the most rage bait thing I could say would be, and I think that's Wawa is better. So
Wawa's
expect
good.
it.
So it's not even that great of a diss.
Is there Wawa in Columbus at production? No. Yeah, I know it's like mostly a Philly thing, but
this is the map in which he was actively vomiting.
All right. For our audio-only listeners, that is everyone, he went 18 and 15 with a 1.5 rating.
And 100 ADR.
Yeah.
Lost.
Impressive. And he lost.
And he lost.
Love it. Anarchy's accounting firm back in business. I didn't catch who was having the difficulty, but I know we mentioned it, and I just entirely forgot. I do know this. Zealous posting up for some mid-control. This time they've got a lot more where that came from. It's Lee. All mid, and he's got maybe another one. Lord of Pie struggling, but he will correct the record. No escape for him. Hayden got to worry about Khan, and he is trying to get this pre-fire, but still not able to survive. Eats a nade. Nice reaction, though, for Room, but get out A. How about Sasha? Right in position in CT. Ooh, he's got to be careful. His little head was seen. Jakey's up. Or at least it was there. Yabo. Oh, boy. This is going to be crazy. He's got a free kill. The op is certainly still a problem, but going elevated. Sasha nearly making a mistake. That could have cost him. Fortunately, he's still alive.
Under the balcony goes one unchecked. Potentially looks like it will be, and simple headshot there. And then second round, but even still, it was one that could have gone on its head and belly up at any point in time. Taff has money for one more buy for Zealous next round if they want to save and go full in. But I don't know. I wouldn't buy right here. I mean, there is, again, only 2 rounds left. 2 AKs really isn't going to be screaming victory for me. But yeah, that's a financial mistake if I were to point one out. Here on Mirage, I think they've been pretty much perfect in most instances, but kind of just asking for the long term to hurt. If you can't get your way through with less, which sometimes can be more, and certainly with an AK having found them their first frag without a point of damage taken, Lee could be the one to make that the truth, and they're going to actually play shoulder to shoulder and Palace through, and it won't be turned on. I can't figure.
Oh, no.
He's going to use his P250 to get himself a new weapon in a 5 versus 3 in a situation where Anarchy's team had no reason to go looking. They looked for 2 kills, both of them drop.
Oh, and look, this is that reactive Counter-Strike that we've been talking about a lot. AGN, he's the one to push. Not in and of itself inherently a bad decision, and it will be rewarded. That should speed them up, though. With Hayden down, AAF, they've got this perfectly read into. Anarchy and CT, Sasha, and AGN. Both in connector. Great nade. Beautiful nade. Quick flick as well, though Jakey takes Anarchy. With that, this man advantage that's still maintained should be enough. Sasha, alive and kicking. And with the rotation over to CT, AGN, I mean, they're in brilliant spots to trade him.
Yeah, as long as that second player is quick about turning his attention back to spawn, if his teammate is to die at all. And you know what? I'll eat my words. They win the round, and they do it off the back of what felt like one rifle and all of the decisions that were to follow from AAF from that point forth. And op, that's good. Some utility to find. Scavenged. Kevlar in a helmet. $4 kit. Other than that, they're otherwise trying to pick pennies, and thankfully Sasha able to hit that shot, but more en route, just a little bit too far away.
Are you worried yet? Because I am. Incredibly so.
I said any more than 8.
And I'm no counting wizard, but that does say 9.
I don't think they have wizards for that.
What?
It's pretty standard, general, human behavioral thing we can just do.
Okay.
By
Must have like gone to the wrong high school or something.
You learned to count in high school.
Yeah. From my wizard teacher.
Right.
I don't know where I'm going with this
That's what they're doing at Hogwarts nowadays, anyway. B-site, what do you got for us? A hold with a blind AGN and still a goal on an SMG to turn back in about face. Another point where it feels like the T's are a little bit more blinded by the flash than their opponents are, but they can afford to subside with a singular round. It isn't their greatest, it's not their best stuff, but even then, it's still a gap of 6.
Made certainly some frustration out here for AAF. Not the prettiest of first halves, no doubt. I think that they had that one really impressive adjustment. They changed things up, and for a couple of rounds, they were successful in doing that. Zealous then started paying a little bit more attention, a little bit more respectful about their default, and from that point on, back to business as usual. AAF on the T side now. Zealous posting up this defense. Sprint towards Cat. But bomb's going con. Florida Pie is just there to distract the 3 players that are committed to B. And then meanwhile, the rest of the team sprinting towards A. Just Jakey on a P2K. Roomba arrives. Jakey could pluck out one. That's a real nice shot, but is it enough? Actually might be. Lee, I think that's from Catwalk. Absolutely. Excuse me, he finally got the kill over there on B. That was Lord of Pies who was still committed in that direction. And Roomba, how is he still alive? How is he still living? Anarchy needs a 1v2.
I don't see any utility, maybe on the ground, but utility won't matter when they get atop the bomb after the headshot is found. A 3 versus 2, you blink and you'd miss some of the kills, but you're certainly not going to miss your 10th round if you are Zealous. You're gonna get that. Guaranteed. Shouldn't have been. And it's an Anarchy team timeout, and I don't blame them.
No. That's another one of those. Honestly, both the pistol rounds have been, I'm going to call them pretty ugly from AAF's perspective. From like just a...
Oxymoron.
What?
Pretty and ugly.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah.
Interesting.
But...
I never thought about that.
Just from a perspective of like a lot of missed shots, straight up. Like, you know, we kind of we're talking about it in on the first half pistol, but then, you know, in this one, it was the same situation where Roomba is living for so long there. Should never be allowed to be up and about forever.
Kills, nothing that Anarchy's squad are unfamiliar with here on Mirage. Trippy little MP7, but an A-site swing. 3 fully automatics. This could prove a problem even now. I mean, with also nobody actually directly implemented on the defense, it's just going to be Yabo hoping that they don't overrun. They will. They'll push on in. Jakey just gets there, but also just gets dinked. But with another spray, it could be rectified, and one after another, the CT retake will make it happen. And this is what we were seeing on day one from another team entirely, but the full CT swing seems to have its perks.
I actually think it was from AAF, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it was from the team that had Smooth.
Oh, you're absolutely right. No doubt. Smoking the bomb. Oh, Lord of Pies. Gonna find one, but the knife comes out. It's actually not the knife to convert that, though. It's Lord of Pies from the side. And the spam to take Zealous down. Force buy is good. AAF, they're back, baby.
They're back. I've seen enough. Welcome back, Prime Astralis.
Prime AAF. Just a T-side team.
Anarchy has been doing literally all they can, it feels like, in this one to remain active. I mean, on B site, on CT, being the highest performer, the most output, two times over. I remember them finding multi-frags on B hits.
Yep.
One of which was unfortunately after his entire team had already kind of died elsewhere, but, you know,
what can you do?
You can only kill what's in front of you. And starting out a decent enough T-side on the calls in trying to get a little bit tighter knit with Twinkinator. They pump the brakes for just a split second whilst the AKs get in a beautiful position to multi as Lord of Pies goes flicking all across the A site. 2 kills are theirs. A 5th round is as well. There's Zealous are just going to be waiting, I think, to have the full 5 with everything they want.
Yeah, there's a couple of things that actually give me a little bit of faith for this AAFT side, and I'll put them out now. First, Lord of Pies, pretty nightmarish first half. Like, just, and from what I saw, just bad game, you know, individually for a little bit there. And then AGN, you know, he's been so potent on the T side in particular as well.
True.
As a lurker. With Twinkinator leveling up, like those 3 things with Anarchy already there, they're painting a picture that suggests to me that this could be a real comeback. Obviously, there's still much work to do.
Gotta get a reload off, switches to the Glock, panics, back to the unreloaded MAC-10. They will die, but only after they've done their due diligence in finding the multis and still having a little bit of a shooting range. And put that headphone on!
Dude, calm down, man.
And
they're separate. They're like all the way across the venue,
don't
actually.
Even care.
Yeah, stay mad, pal. Guys, my caster thinks he's an admin or something.
You better change careers.
Better not. I need you.
Yeah, well, we better stop making fun of me then.
Okay, my bad. I'm sorry.
You're gonna bring out the inner ADHD in me and just want to go do that thing now. You say I can't do it? Well, watch this.
Watch this.
You say I can do it? Well, I can't. Can't do it.
Watching a smoke is Lee inside of window, where there is indeed a T. More to be done on this mid attack, though.
He's cosplaying as a CT.
He kind of is. CT position you would typically see, but that's not the case here. Anarchy directing the troops up into connector.
With an A1S, no less.
With Jakey on the other side of it, Zealous. They do have a pretty good opportunity to hold this. Yabo doesn't have the strongest rifle, just an MP9 over there. He's got to worry about a late lurk up the ramp. Jakey needed to stay alive, needed to live for longer. Yabo, coverage. Surely not. Molly out in the...
What are we doing? Mollying the player out, trying to jump atop of him with the Tech 9. Sasha has burned. and his teammates' utility. Trying to plant this bomb will require either a hold, a smoke, or maybe both, because after the nade has been let loose, AGN's got too much to do, and that is just a little bit of a head shaker, man. That should have been theirs every day of the week.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no question about it. Some just miscommunication right there as well. Sasha, if you're going to be making that move, don't be throwing the molly, right? And his teammate needed to communicate that he's either mollying that out or just taking the fight. Realistically, just swing. Both of you just swing.
One of 3 comms from 2 different players needs to come through.
Yeah.
And it seems like there just wasn't.
Yeah, a little bit of confusion in that one. Seems like AAF want to maybe simplify things just a little bit at the start of this round. 3 towards B, bomb included.
Ooh,
on a smoke, but AGN
take it.
Keen to walk right through. And Jakey, I thought he was here with an op, but he doesn't have an op. He's just got a rifle.
This is everything the Cat players have just given attention back away to look towards mid, and although there is a B player in Jakey, I don't think he'll be prepared for it if he does go discovering. He's just sitting on the back pillar, spots out his head and sits for a spray. It does do exactly as intended and deny AGN of his presence, ever looming, but also what also looms over their heads right now is the fact that they're kind of low on their core players in Jakey and Yabo, one in Con and the other the A rotator. So there's a commonality as far as what the liability is on this map at this point in time, and that is A. They, realizing this, will try to play a little bit more bolstered as their third.
And they're getting the resources in the right place. That's for certain. Openings. At least the feeling of one. Not coverage from Connector. And out they go. AAF. Access. Where's Yabo? He's on the stairs? Yeah, takes the peek, finally does. Goes down, though, and both the CT players fall in the process. It's another incredible round from Lord of Pies, but he's not done enough.
Seems to not actually know where he was from. He already got those many kills. He's playing it Connector and spammed through the wall. And running out of time. Lord of Pies had found 4. To be honest with you, I got kind of lost in the round and didn't even realize that the timer was expiring.
I honestly thought that they got the bomb down. That's genuinely why I was confused. That is another one. You called it a head shaker. That one's a head scratcher. Where Zealous get away with the victory, but AAF, it probably should have been theirs.
Yeah, I have to go back and watch that round to get a full understanding.
It was Yabo's swing. It was Yabo's swing from stairs that denied the bomb plant. That's what it was.
Does at least see a buy of the T's that's actually better than that of Zealous after their victory, so consolation prize would be that, because the round 1 is the ultimate goal. Everybody sought after, and trying to get into B has somebody in a little bit of an unorthodox switch. Everybody just playing around this smoke, still doing so to utter perfection. A Molotov that burns him on the back ends of it, but doesn't stop there.
Oh, and I mean, they're just going to try and leave right into Yabo. It's free. And Twinkinator would have to pull something out of his hat. First is there, but Jakey says no mo. Zealous going to be able to break through on their map pick. Mirage theirs in a very impressive fashion as well, 13-6.
It's got to feel pretty darn good. Take the breathe after that first map, and, you know, again, a little bit of, not like anger, I wouldn't say, just a little bit of disappointment probably as to how that first had finished out. And, you know, they walk back into this map and they utterly own them on that first half. Like, it was a 9-3. The last round of the half, it was just like, not, I wouldn't say desperate, but just something they hadn't really run in a B run and trying to push in so quickly, and they changed the pace up a little bit there. Stylistically interesting, but they lose that round. Every other victory they had looked perfect. Then they go into the second half with that big a gap, and they, you know, give a little bit of leeway, but, you know, it never really had it had the legs to stand on a comeback, but they never actually began to fully run with that, right? So
I just feel like
glimpses.
Overall, so many different struggles for AAF. When you kind of stack them all on one after another. The first half, you know, were a little bit too passive, and the way that they were reacting, I guess they were too reactive would be the way that you described it. I think that's a good way of putting it. Finally made a little bit of an adjustment.
Proactivity.
A little bit late, but then that only took them for a couple of rounds that they were able to post at the end of the half. You tag that on with some very slow starts from some of the biggest pieces in Twinkinator and Laura DePies. I think that, all of these things, and then into the second half where maybe things were starting to go a little bit better, but then, Tony, you had these head-scratching rounds where it looked like it should have been a win for the T side, and then it wasn't, whether it be to some heroics or something, going wrong. Honestly, you could even say good trading from the CT side coming back in. I think, all of these things stacked on one another made it difficult for AAF to even have much of an impact in this match.
And sometimes you lose yourself a little bit on LAN. I mean, I can only imagine that there are some jitters going on. I think Sasha aptly noted that yesterday as his first, introduction into a LAN environment probably only begins to scale greater and greater as you have, labels. This is the quarterfinals, right, of your first LAN, right? It's going to be your semifinals potentially of your first LAN, and it doesn't get any easier. It might get easier LAN after LAN. It might get easier match after match as you gain that experience. But for me personally, I know what it's like to be in those shoes, and I understand the level that it gets to be where you make decisions that you wouldn't normally make. You don't hear things that you should normally hear. The communication doesn't enter your brain as it should, and you don't process it to make the right decisions. And I'd say that, no offense to Sasha, but we saw some moments where not necessarily entirely his fault, but a little bit of questionability, it feels like, as far as what his level to go in longevity is concerned with. I didn't have that problem on Inferno to a great degree, and I'm starting to see it actually shine through and crack in as we go deeper into it. And I hope that's not the case for Nuke, not for their sake.
Yeah, Nuke is, of course, our decider. Needing all three for this one, I think kind of was expected after we saw such a deep map as well. I'm very excited to see what Nuke has to bring. We got a break, though, ahead of that. So stay tuned. We shall return with map 3 in just a few minutes. The Operation Cupid quarterfinals are continuing, and I think we got the best of them. All other quarterfinals have been completed. This one, though, going to 3, as able to bounce back. Zealous on their map pick, their selection of Mirage, as now we're headed to Nuke. This is the way the bracket looks. Over your head is who the winner of this match will be meeting. We got Big Dog and Sofafu's Tuition Farm in the other semifinal that we'll be covering after this.
Yeah, I think Skyline losing out is probably one that at least 2-0 is a little bit of a shock to some, maybe. That's probably, I would say, the biggest thing or the closest thing to an upset. But I mean, I haven't really gotten the chance to look at the scores either of each of the maps. So Big Dog Sedated could also be one of those you could look at as the same story. But we're still here on this, so we're going to focus and look towards the lens of Nuke. We're going to look towards a map in which we have seen some ups and some downs. But I think predominantly what we have witnessed, you and I, has been the AAF team. Just a little bit more so to where I, at the very least, am tentatively excited to see what Zealous have to offer. And I'm going to be honing in a little bit more on them.
Yeah, I think we know what AAF were doing well on their Nuke. Obviously, a knife round to decide like the site start, but just to maybe to touch on what those things were. AAF getting a lot of value out of AGN on their T side. He responsible for a lot of space on the map in the lurk and lobby. You tack on the fact that they were then very effective in their yard attacks. Were able to get down secret and then rely on AGN to essentially ported off the rest of the map as well. So those were the things we saw in the group stage. AAF now in the decider of a quarterfinal matchup. Pressure is at its maximum as this knife round is underway.
Yeah, and I also remember Twinkinator being a pretty solid player left on the outer yard when everything was pretty much focused in towards inner as well. So yeah, a lot of running around red, to be honest, as one player is left separated from the rest of them. AGN is dead, and now it comes down to the hacks and slashes, the higher HP of the three. It's going to be Lee who needs to lock in this round after, if any of them are to die, but they keep 3 alive, and they keep themselves in great enough standing to kick this one off for a CT side start.
Yeah, that's...
Oh, he's leaving the team.
See you later,
he's saying,
guys.
see you guys, thanks for playing with me.
Hey, good stuff, good stuff. We won the game, we won the map.
Standing up to fist bump each player, that's true friendship.
That's like coach behavior.
Yeah.
Team dad behavior, low-key. So.
It smells like a quesadilla in here. I think King's making quesadillas downstairs.
You just pulled the curtain back.
Right.
That is hilarious.
It smells delicious.
Oh, can you tell that Tony's hungry? We got Zealous, CT side, as you were highlighting. AAF, well, we gave them a lot of praise for their T side. Now it's time to test it.
Zeus. Interesting. That's one way to work out the pistol round. Yabo. I mean, this is something you usually only see when you're playing with less against more. Being able to get more than one kill after having gotten that taser off. It's a rarity. Smoke to the door may actually hinder the CTs more than it helps them, and Yabo won't even find the one. It's AGN prepared for the close-range duel. The spam won't get a thing. AGN on the whip around, not only for the entries, but the closers. This round is done.
That is nasty stuff from AGN, man. Yeah, listen, not to be overly critical, but bro, what are we doing buying a Zeus on pistol round?
I don't know.
I don't use the S word often, but that's stupid.
Wow. I wouldn't let you talk to me like that if I saw that in the VOD.
Good thing I'm not talking to you, pal.
Yeah, good thing. You're right.
Two casters have a fist fight live on the
Memed on a little bit here by Sasha, even. You already know what I'm going to say.
Just leave it. Just... oh...
But for some reason, he loves the raw, unfiltered sound of his teammates' voices as they respond to him, as opposed to inside of TeamSpeak. Because that's what he's doing it for.
Yeah.
But he's doing it with the opposite ear cup.
Not mouse hand.
Weird.
That's the answer.
Maybe, yeah, I guess.
AAF. I mean, a strong statement on that start. Zealous going to be rebuying. We got Yabo working a UMP. Not exactly the norm. The scout is in Roomba's hands, not Jakey's. Jakey saved a little bit of extra cash to make sure that if this doesn't go correctly, that he can still get an op-out in round 3. Which I am a pretty big fan of.
In round 4?
Yes. Apologies.
Yeah, because this one isn't exactly all in, but it's pretty damn near all in. And in that point, they want a victory above all else. This isn't going to be a matter of damage.
All right, not to kick Yabo when he's down, because this is actually just a meme. I was being serious about the Zeus thing.
Right.
But if he has an MP9, probably gets a kill there.
Poor guy. Or there was even one waiting outside the vent or just in the vent after Hayden had gotten the refrag, though.
Yeah.
They're still kind of low. I mean, I would not be afraid of giving these players a couple of shots back, and they're going to run it through.
Oh.
This is a little egregious, in my opinion. I think that could have turned a lot worse, and it still can. AGN should be a dead man.
Worse as in
hunting.
As in they're going to lose too many guns?
Yeah. Peek this guy. Ah, he's on the run.
Well, they all got out. I mean, that's the key.
Yeah, but they're all 20 HP or less. If he just gets one bullet on any of either of those two players, just get one bullet, it's just easy.
Oh, I thought you were concerned about the bomb, actually.
No, I was concerned about the fact that the CTs were about to get so much more money than should have been possible.
50 doll hairs per kill?
Per player.
Per player. That's right. Jakey with that little extra cash, still saving, but does have a deagle, at least in this round. Other upgrades to be spoken of, true for Zealous. Don't think this is the first time Zealous have played this nuke. They played it one time in the group stage. I'm double checking right now. Yes, they did in their 3-0 Group C performance.
Jakey's gotten all the way through ramp room, peering just narrowly into lobby. But this should still be an easy enough one with the... Oh my lord, that view model is absurd. I just realized. How have we not seen that? Who's the player inside of A site right now? Okay, Roomba maybe keeping us on his POV for a little while longer. Yeah, there's Yabo. Good lord, stretching his arms out Mr. Fantastic style.
He's not bending his elbows at all.
No.
Which I'm no expert. Maybe that's how you should do it, no?
Yeah. Actually, looks like he's more like...
Tony's giving me like a good visual representation right here.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's to get his crosshair a little bit better placed, because right now he might have to. His team is falling, and so too is this bomb site, with no more room for Roomba to hit any more heads. he's dead.
But he's got teammates who could be finding some headshots as well. There's mostly just a setup to hopefully deny AAF as they exit. And, I mean, they have most of these exits covered, in fairness. Just a little waiting game until they get to that point. Hayden, a valuable kit that he still is holding on to as well. He's not going to be able to stick around with it, but there's those exits I was highlighting. Yabo. Yoinking weapons from the ground, but ultimately won't survive. Jakey, on the other hand, will, and with an AK in his hand, grabs an op and going to toss that over to Yabo. This is a very strong buy from Zealous with everything that they want. First test for AF.
Jakey versus Sasha, also potential.
Yeah.
You didn't really get that on Mirage either.
No, I mean, mostly just because, I mean, Zealous was just individually kind of ahead, but there it is.
This molly won't matter when Sasha gets the kill, though, I guess.
Yeah, free frag. Lee gonna have to try and make up for that. There's that trio of smokes that we were talking about. Not time to touch on those yet, because Lee is right where he needs to be. A quick two-piece as Yabo pulls back. I think that was, where was it? He was in A. So that was the lurk in lobby, if I'm not mistaken. He's still alive, still quite clear about his position, but still a man down. And this flank, oh, it's so fast.
Anarchy has bomb. Has the opportunity to get into the A site, but has to get over the Heaven player who could just go flying up the ladder any time, as well as Roomba, who's hot-footed it over into Hut. That shouldn't be at all anticipated, but Anarchy not really needing to do a whole lot of anticipation in that regard if he's just going to send himself down to a new level.
Oh, he's going searching.
Of verticality, yeah.
Not going to find it, though. Everyone repositioning very intelligently right now from Zealous. They know that there's a gap, but they don't know that it's been taken.
Plant's kind of important now, though.
I mean, and he's got plenty of time to do so. Now, thinking about how split Zealous are currently, how well do they get back into position where they can play off of one another? Very quickly indeed. Anarchy.
Close double.
Yeah.
Behind him. It's very impolite.
Can't be leaving that door open.
How you let in animals or intruders, bugs, or pesky CTs. You need to defuse yo mom.
Everywhere. There's pesky CTs.
Pretty sure Zealous's logo is supposed to have like each letter somewhere in the logo.
Yeah, I see it.
Like
kinda.
All of them. It's interesting.
The L is in like the middle there.
Just trying to figure out where the O is. Like this part right here is a square, but the one below it is like angular to
you
be
just
for the U, I think.
Screen. This part right here, yeah, probably.
Yeah, the bottom little jut out.
Yeah,
it's like an angular one, whilst the other is just a square.
A very important gun round though that Zealous just picked up.
Indeed.
It's Lee who really manufactured it after Jakey lost his life early. Jakey towards ramp this time. And Sasha without one of those big snipers to work with either.
Happens out on Yard is 2 kills pretty quickly in conversation where it was Lee last time. It'll be he and Yabo who kind of combine. Anarchy swiftly swinging in through Squeaky. At least catches the timing on the door player. They can get the plant off. Yob's still ready at the ramp. Tags up Sasha and he'll go down lower and he'll be feeling sore in the morning. They don't have any more outside of 1 mall.
There's a lot to single here. This is sort of terrifying.
They had an HE.
If only. Oh, Roomba's trying to find the timing to escape, trying to get out. Great adjustment from Lee. He is the one to take him. That's the ramp player who actually picked that up. Sasha gets to activate, but on its low HP, there's just too much to do. Time was getting low, but Zealous will deliver.
I like the idea, the double dark. Should have worked. Felt like it had all the makings of it. They didn't have any other positions that they could fight for and from. So it simply wasn't happening unless somebody had made a drastic decision come drastic times. And as they unfortunately fail to pick that one up, they'll fail to find a full investment in the 6th. Players on this site in the offer going to be joining them rather quickly in case there were to be a pop and play. Feels as if they've got a pretty decent understanding that that was a likelihood, or at the very least a higher probability than any other round in this half. And we're going to tie it back as Twinkinator has the fingers crossed that there's nobody still holding for him to make a new whole way to plant. Not happening.
Pretty free round. AAF. I seem to recall, maybe you can correct me, them having some pretty nice A hits in their previous nuke game that you and I got to watch, but that one without a whole lot. It's hard when Yabo not going to be moved off the top of hut without a molly. Tied score line. Jakey coming back to another different position, this time towards A, where looks like he wants to maybe insert into hut. AAF all about yard once again.
Not happening for Lee this time. Shots go either way through that smoke, but it's a lot easier for a number of T's to just go spraying into his angle as opposed to him sending shots their way. And Sasha has been left to sit here with AGN and kind of await the arrival of any members of Zealous who look to go on research. But that's not their current duty. Their homeland defenses have been cut short. They're not going to be able to get down lower at all.
I mean, but in the meantime, the bomb is down lower, and I mean, they just got to have to try and fight this out. Successfully do so in both ways. So uncomfortable as well for Zealous, even to try and like save these guns. Aren't clear where they can leave. Hayden, he's just been heard dropping off. Mustang, there is nothing left here. Wow. Nice shot.
Check him, PC. These are not normally. A little bit of additional potential frustration coming out from Anarchy there, it almost looked like, maybe.
Yeah, definitely a little bit.
After winning? Maybe just having a hard couple of rounds individually or something?
Oh, I'll tell you who's not, AGN.
What did one of these?
Yeah.
With his hand up in the air.
That being
Sasha. It's very... To Sasha?
No, I think it was Sasha putting his hands in the air.
No, it was Anarchy in the middle. Sasha's the opera on the end.
Yeah, he also was.
Oh,
yes.
We
were watching two different people.
Oh yeah, no, Anarchy did like an Italian, like one of those signals where you throw your right hand up in the air, like enough already kind of thing, or like whatever.
Oh, AGN, man.
Oh, stop talking to me, says AGN. Let me frag.
I mean, he's fragging.
12-3 is where we said he would do his best work.
And he's been delivering on that massively. Finally going to go down. I mean, everybody is worried about that, though. Zealous, ramp push, hut push, door push, all in order to dismantle AGN. In the meantime, AAF get down B. Reaction eventually there for Yabo, but it's just too little too late. What Pies was right on the scene.
As long as they do the right job with the nades, spread as intended. One to the left and one to the right from one handler and Twinkinator with the Brasden push through the smoke and just enough to get in their heads and bring on the op and bring out the best in a team that was having a momentary breakdown. They look to be ripping it now, off like a Band-Aid.
Yeah, this nuke T-side really delivering on everything that we had hyped it up to be. It's beautiful when that's the way it goes. He's been spotted in, takes a tag in the process. It's a big from Roomba. How many can he get? What a great trade from Sasha. Talking about maybe a little bit of nerves in those previous maps, particularly Mirage. That is an impressive adjustment that he just made.
Roomba was ready to get something done, taking matters into their own hands. I definitely wouldn't say he made the wrong move. With that rifle, that could have been the difference maker. Can't anticipate the swift shot of the op. Yabo still sitting onto inner with another player ready to peek off of him, but neither will do the damage necessary to kill anybody out, as it's Sasha yet again to refrag. This time, Sniper, as you note, seems to be ready to go. Hot off the trot, and money enough now garnered where he's going to be able to have that until the ends of time as this first half is concerned.
This first half gets highly uncomfortable now for Zealous. Early back and forth, tied scoreline 3-3. You're thinking that that's the start of something a little bit more significant, but instead it is stalled. And AAF continue what they had started. Jakey and Lee both going to save rifles. It's going to bolster the CT economy significantly for the upcoming round. Turn to some really good form there from Sasha. And it doesn't take a whole lot for this round to just fall flat with Zealous's lack of weaponry and utility. Hoping that that's going to change in this one, where Jakey, once again, dropping the AK that he had saved and getting an AWP. He's a guy that we have really talked very highly of, but it's been a pretty rough start to this nuke.
Timeout that will soon fade. Right back into it as if nothing has changed. See if that's the same inside the server. See if they're still holding it down against the fullest of full buys. The digestible piece is a flash off that wall with an aggressive Roomba on AK with nobody actually alongside him. Aggressive on Yargis as well, and trying to throw your bodies at Anarchy's accounting farm may not be the best way of making it work right now, to be honest. A lot of, I don't want to say wasted nades, but they don't actually end up clearing the goal that was the edge of that vent. So he can play on the backside as well as rotate over and push himself to see what is and more accurately and importantly isn't happening on A, and it's back to ramp, and it might be the worst move possible for this op unless he's swift.
Oh, but he could have been. Jakey right there, Roomba over the top. Oh, it looks like it could have been so good for Roomba, but it's not. Hayden with nothing, up to Yabo. Adjustment required, but it's a swift trade from Sasha that will stop the bleed. It's been staunched, and with that, bandaged, Zealous. They just have that one knife inserted, and unfortunately from that point on, AAF will take this and run.
Be a little bit frustrating. Your CT side nuke barely even gets, like, you feel like you have the chance to play sometimes, to be honest with you, and I think that has to be true for Jakey, who's only had the op 3 times, one round of which was against an eco. And the odds that he gets it again anytime soon, unless Roomba is to save it, of course, are slim to none, so he gets atop of that as quick as possible and ensures that he remains safe.
It's a really great adjustment from Anarchy, too. Understanding and kind of seeing the setup there, even though they initially missed the shot, Roomba and Jakey both in that position, I think Anarchy just seeing that, they're like, yeah, nope, actually I'm good. Don't want to go into that ramp hold, despite the fact that they had a little bit of a timing, an opening in that direction. Back over to A, really nice trade. Catches Hayden, who had pushed into lobby. And now AAF firmly victorious on the T half already. How much more can they find? 2 rounds left in this for Zealous to at least recover a bit.
Boost up top red, seeing if anybody is going to be on an off angle, on something a little bit more unorthodox to what they're usually ready for, and to what Zealous are usually running. Nothing out of the usual in general. It's all pretty much as it was. They've got one player down into the lower bomb site from the double doors. We've seen them there before. Yabo, as opposed to having to make the fast rotation down through the vent that typically gets caught, they'll just be seeing if they can catch it on the radar. Seems as if they have. Squeaky door open, single door open, pardon, and then closed again. But double is compromised, and they don't seem to realize this. They are in ever-looming danger.
Yabo needs to do everything. All possible.
Bomb.
And it is indeed. Dropped onto the floor. Molly. No, just a nade. Yabo able to dodge that out for the majority. Lord of Pies. Shaky. Shoots down. Lord of Pies is brilliant to find all 3. AGN cutting the rotate. Lord of Pies still alive, but AGN now up to the clutch. Loud and proud about this. Just 20 seconds to play around. AGN swings with confidence. An absolutely brilliant clutch and a tough round to lose, especially after Yabo had started so strong.
You got to give that to Lord of Pies. You have to give that to Lord of Pies. He knows his player in dark, first of all, right? So let's just say after getting the first kill on the upper player who swings in from the right side door, that they just go immediately tanking down onto the player that they know exists. They don't. They wait. They hope to bait another in through the right side, which is exactly as they conjure up happens. They get that pick, and then they can isolate the last of them. It's methodical, it's surgical, it's enabling his teammates to get close in case he is to die for a trade, but none is required, not until the very last of the hurdles. And Lord of Pies hasn't been a beautiful match, hasn't been a beautiful nuke. They were 5-8 before that round, but that round in particular doesn't make it look like that has been the case. If you covered his kills and deaths, you would never have known.
No, not at all. And off the back of a Mirage that was one to forget from him particularly. It's Roomba down early. Shout out to AGN who put the finishing touches, lobbed it up to Lord of Pies, but AGN needed there to put it away. Yabo and an MP9. This time, he's able to lock in that one, take another. Yabo still living. Bomb on the ground, a smoke deployed as they try and break back through, but Lee is there for the backstab. Anarchy, leader of this team, but gonna need a 1v4.
I think that's a little bit too much. The chaos that Anarchy would need to create in order to thrive would need to come from players grouped with their wits not about them. With a gap that he could expose, the windows aren't broke. The single door is open though, and that's by nature of the CTs choosing to create their next duel, to get a new line. And as everything goes quiet on the camp of Anarchy for a singular round, I think that that is going to need to be a silent modesty as they stay humble in their lead and now know that there's only one goal, Vincent, 13.
They might need to stay silent, but I don't. A phenomenal T-half out of AAF. Top to bottom, it's exactly as we had highlighted with AGN. So incredibly good. And didn't even really, I mean, the rest of AAF just playing a smart game of Counter-Strike. Surrounding some of that star power. Up in the mix, Lord of Pies.
Lamo.
Yeah, and that's so separated. Roomba not in a position where he could be traded. The rest of the team, a little bit disparate. Coming back in to try again, but that's Yabo meeting the same fate as his teammate moments ago. Surely not. It won't be in Hayden's hands. It's all up to Lee. He will be taken down, and with that pistol round, you might start having those smiles turn into grins wide as can be, because AAF don't seem like they're slowing it down.
No refractory period for Zealous right now. They need to get themselves entirely warmed and ready for what will be the run to the win, and they know they need AKs for that. They can't get in with P250s and hope to do it over round, force after force. That's just not feasible. It's not reasonable. They need to leg up over them early, but not too soon. At this point, if they are to just kind of quote-unquote forfeit this round over and knowing that the next is where they'll do their best stuff, then it will only be 10. I say only, but thinking about 11 or 12 is just too daunting.
Gotta push that out of your head right now. Not allow that threat.
Cross that bridge when we come to it.
Precisely. To be a ghoul. Zealous.
I think that's a troll. Like a bridge troll? Bridge troll?
Wouldn't that be under the bridge?
What's a ghoul? I thought a ghoul was like a ghost.
I guess it would be.
Melted.
What sits on, like, your shoulder? I guess it would be like a devil on your shoulder. That's not really where I was
No,
going.
I think I do know what you're talking about. Is it a ghoul?
Maybe.
There was a show called Xavier Renegade Angel. They had a scene where it was like, maybe they were devils. I think it was just like a bunch of devils.
Okay. Well, no confusion for AAF.
No, very, 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 very clear what they need to do here. Win out.
Zealous, on the other hand, these AKs, got to put them to perfect utilization. Some big rounds from individuals, but top to bottom, AAF overwhelming. Towards yard early. Going to try and force this out with one up on top of Silo as well. Twinkenator just falls back. Thrown into the Lion's Den, but Twinkenator just pops out, Gomered, and he asks for more. Twinkenator right on target as Jakey finally finds a trade. And there's a part where that came from. Sasha turns away. He doesn't realize that there's more in Lee's position. Isn't looking for Lee, but Sasha has just slipped away into Africa. Lee has to gather back up this bomb at some point, and now he's alone. Still thinks that Sasha is out at red, but he is not. Another victory, as this is AAF all the way. Nuke is their domain.
This might be something that the teams in the future, if they are to close this year, need to watch out for, to be honest with you. I mean, this is the decider, right? Like, floating this to the very finish might be out of the best interests of some specific teams, let alone picking it. I don't think that's something that they can really afford. That's a scary prospect in and of itself as to what the future may hold, but that upper semifinal over your head, pardon, they do await them.
Likely to be AAF at this point. Flash out, good. Lord of Pies blind. He's going to pass them by. Anarchy pops through. Lord of Pies now activates, and the leftover weapons, especially for Jakey on this Glock, is just not enough. Lord of Pies leveled up further and further as this map goes on. To 4, and where before we said needed to be perfect, should be perfect, now that is the full requirement. There's no choice in the matter.
Perfection down to the last detail. Nade over top will bounce off the fence and potentially catch one. There was only really Roomba who was close enough to be hit by it. Maybe a little bit of desperation there from Roomba. Actually, it wasn't the outside player who got hit by the nade. It was Roomba hit by something as he looked to walk in through Squeaky Door. Maybe the HE that had opened the avenue, but he does not get what he would have wanted. His teammate will. Lee will rectify it, if only for a moment, because Lord of Pies is also looking for something, and he may be able to flank the flanker.
I mean, the hard part about that, too, is that that's the bomb. I mean, Hayden just been hurt. He's got to get the heck out of there, try and transition down into secret.
Is he in Squeaky right now?
Lord of Pies?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
This could get really silly. No, he didn't have his gun out. If he just walks with his gun out, then he has that one on a freebie. And oh man, that is just a bummer. I mean, team kill. I mean, that's something, I guess, but it would take a multi-frag from the player inside of Hut with an AWP before they even start their quote-unquote retake.
Unironically so doable. This elevation, though, actually might change things. Sasha now going to be seen, heard, and won't even get a shot off before he's removed. AGN up the vent and right into the waiting arms of the AWP. Zealous a little bit of fortune, but they do get something on the T side.
So sad. So sad. 2 split-second decisions away from being able to have chance after chance. But listen, they've got chance after chance anyway. 7 rounds straight required. I don't really know if I'm feeling all that just yet. I mean, the comeback is something that they need to make me believe. I can't manifest that myself.
I mean, they're going to have to be the ones to start manifesting first, and then we, the believers, to follow after that, because, I mean,
seeing is believing in this case.
To this point, there's been nothing to see. Form for Zealous. Sasha ready.
Oh.
What did he see?
His hand as he turned.
Oh.
His frigging hand.
Jakey.
Pinky.
In this case, probably going to be happy just to lose that.
Yeah, it's blown off, and he's just got to cover his mouth so he doesn't make sound cues across the rest of the map.
Sasha blinded. He forced back. EGN's rotation held just by Molly for the time being. It's Sasha as they drop. That catches him down. Hayden gone. Want to go back towards A.
If Roomba can get up through the ladder right now, he can set them up. He's got the molly, he's got the flash. Smoke onto a teammate, another flash that he could have lobbed over, but he's just going to throw it on the run. Center silo player, non-existent. Anarchy on the rotate, runs into Hut, dies out, swing from heaven. Nobody's finding success from Anarchy's through until Twinkinator finds them their double, until he gives them away and a man advantage to work, but they'll both fall in the same angle, and Sasha's found a kill already. Will they recognize that he may have made his way on a new direction? He's going to try and be silent. No, very loud. There's still one on the silo. He's going to be able to maybe round this bout, but not even that much. There's one more in a very long line as required, as mentioned.
Yeah, that's the thing. Many steps left in this thing. At least for the moment, they have gotten their first little moment of reprieve, though. With this eco that AAF are going to have to pull out. Most of the USPs, a couple of upgrades onto a P250 at Deagle for Lord of Pies. And Zealous, well, they are building a long-term strategy, but this is the foundation.
Beating USPs.
Yep.
Starts with that.
I mean, you got to start somewhere.
That's the ground level, is us having AKs and an AWP and not dying to players with no nades and USPs.
Well, I was really more thinking like them breaking them for the first time was the foundation that they're building on.
Okay, then step 2 of the second pillar of 4 to stand on is not dying to USPs. The third pillar, not throwing away man advantages. And the fourth pillar,
Keep talking.
Kill them. Break.
Music to my ears.
Now, what is this called?
Something silly. They did pull this out. Why do we remember?
Oh, I remember. I never forget.
Tony never forgets.
Or forgives.
Zealous just really don't want to make an error here.
They might just.
And they might.
Oh, dude, are they going to be ready for that second set of boosts? I think Lord of Pies, that's going to be enough of a surprise as they make their way. They do walk right into it. Double dinks and one high, one low. Thankfully, for the sake of the tease, second pillar still just barely standing, not dying to USPs.
Yeah, the only
some cracks in that one though.
Yeah, I was gonna say the like weakness to that setup is like you definitely get a kill or two, but if things go right, there's no escape. You can't get into any better position. You're committed. So you've got to have to kill everyone on the entry, on the inbound.
It's happened before.
It'll probably happen again. It's not this time.
Nope. No off. No Sasha being able to throw a barrel in the face of any member of Zealous. Jakey will have the chance at utilizing his as a telescope. Lee practically cut in half before having even seen anyone. Same story almost, but the funnier number for Hayden.
down towards B. Zealous going to make their engagement. They get themselves into that position without any significant damage outside of Lee. Hayden left. It's just going to be Anarchy jump spotting. No one else joining him just yet. That information now communicated over. AGN close. They've got somewhat of a crossfire. Big elevation change as well. They've absolutely seen Anarchy there. Great shot out of Jakey. Just need to trade. Yaba will work on that. He's succeeded. Sasha coming back in from the ramp side, and Jakey continues to play up to this round. Zealous, not Lord of Pies, back with a molly and put the bomb down.
Okay, now I'm starting to believe. Now I'm having a reason to actually give them any credence to a comeback. It's 12-8 after this. The money is going to be in an awkward enough spot where likely Anarchy give up that 9th. And then it's just a matter of doing what they've done all this time from 12-5, and then just winning your gun round, converting on the low buy. Winning your gun round, converting on the low buy. And the danger is always going to be winning on the gun round. That's the biggest trap that you'll run into as a T, is that you kind of lose the plot. Like, they're hopefully not going to try and get cute at this point. Whatever's been working, maybe minor variations to that, but I don't want to see anything like, okay, now let's go for a rush. You know what I mean?
Right.
Every round should be taken with utmost dignity at this rate, because all they have is money. They don't need to waste any of it.
Yeah, Zealous, that trap definitely real. You get into a position where you've won a few rounds in a row, and you start to think, well, okay, now let's throw that change of pace in there. Let's do something different. And whilst if you might have a few rounds to work with, reasonable call.
Sure.
But that is not where Zealous are living right now. They're living life on the edge. One round from elimination in a quarterfinal. So there is no time for silliness, for mistakes.
Ending a series on a rush as a pace changer and losing might be one of the most tilting ways to end a series, period.
Though, I mean, some of the biggest moments in Counter-Strike have been made by calling that and
usually
winning.
because of a necessity, though.
Fair.
Not because of choice. And usually a lot of the biggest moments in Counter-Strike are kind of anticlimactic because of that same thing, too.
Well, yeah. Because they're no longer the biggest moment. They're
I think
just a forgetful
the
one.
The one time I don't find that excusable is Astralis, E-League 2017,
That's exactly
Crane, Map 3.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Everybody references that. All the players go, yeah, Glaive just said rush A. You know what they did? They rushed A and they won.
And it worked. AAF.
This ain't Train, this ain't Astralis, and this ain't 2017.
But it could be Zealous. It could be their story to a semifinal. Continuation of this. Reliant on not meeting any of those stumbling blocks that you were just highlighting. This is one of them, the low buy round that they have to win out. Lord of Pies just got the one rifle. Just trying to play anti, and instead Zealous are exploring without said utility, without said flashbang.
Are you aware of the IGL of this T-side team would be?
No. Okay. Last time I saw them, it was Rue. Okay. And he's not playing.
Well, whoever it is, all I know is that they're going to be emailing Professor Anarchy for an extension on their accounting homework. Trying their damnedest to have a little while longer to work on that. But maybe, just maybe, it's a failing grade because they've turned their backs on the wrong players. Armor for Twinkinator, an AK to utilize, and already having made it a threat, an ever-lingering one. A third of these expose the squeaky door, not a safe space. And Lee with 25, no bomb, no friends, and nowhere to go but forwards, and potentially nowhere to go but home. If Anarchy,
there's just no time.
Have this one, it's over. He can't even get to the bomb. He can't even get to a site. They're already taking off their headsets. They're already unplugging their damn keyboards, and they're already writing themselves in to that next stage, the semifinal set for Anarchy's accounting firm.
Absolutely beautiful out of AAF. It's a little bit of a later clutch up and win than we thought it would be, but it's on a round like that where there's just 5.7s, just pistols. The one gun they actually had goes down first and early. There's no impact from that, but it is a semifinal guaranteed for Anarchy's accounting firm, and a beautiful victory at that.
Signing the camera.
They take themselves a relatively dominant nuke that got close at the end, but it was really just a matter of putting the final pieces in place.
In increments of 2 up or 2 down. It's 13-10, and then we go to 13-6, and then we rise to 13-8. The temperature always felt very hot. Never really, it seemed like we were let up in these matches, even in Mirage, where it was a slightly more convincing victory, right? There was always a couple of moments from players that kept us on our toes. There were a couple of things that we could complain about, a couple of things to praise. There was a lot here and a lot there. And overall, I think that was just pretty much everything you could want out of a Counter-Strike game by the time it had wrapped up. That best of 3 from, I think, this entire event for me, as far as what was on broadcast, is probably the best of them.
Yeah, I do think so. I think for AAF, they've kind of, I don't want to call it like ups and downs, but I feel like we've seen some really high heights from them. But then also, I mean, in this series specifically, we didn't necessarily see, you know, some of the best stuff, particularly out of that Mirage. And then they leveled up so significantly back onto their nuke. Yeah, I'm right there with you when you talked about this being like a potential map to maybe avoid if you are in the semifinal over your head. Hint, hint, wink, wink.
Well, maybe we'll have the chance to get a talk on what the players think about this series and about maybe even that map and maybe even about that semifinal. Let's see what Lord of Pies, who we have on the couch here, has to say. Congratulations on the victory, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it very much. It was a hard one, but it was a fun game the entire time.
Definitely. I mean, I think that if we look towards the entirety of that series, you know, we go map to map. Let's kind of go in reverse for a moment. Let's start with the victory. Let's start with Nuke. Let's start with the map that we got to see you on broadcast already play once before. I think, honest and truthfully, it's one as a danger for many teams, especially as a decider of all things. Actually, I take that back, especially as a map pick for another team. Do you tend to agree that that one is probably one of your stronger? Because picking into it, obviously, you have to start T side, but leaving it as a decider, you kind of have at least a chance of flipping it over. So what are your thoughts on that map as far as how it falls into your pool?
I would say that's one of our most comfortable. Like, we expect, even on T side, to get a good half and to win out most of the time. Both sides of the half, we usually just have the same game plan. Just keep things nice and slow. Try to control the default. Try and control the space and timings that we get. And I think we do a very good job on both sides doing that. And so that's why we get to see our Nuke games usually succeed.
Yeah, I want to kind of tag on for that and talk a little bit about a big pivotal point, specifically because it's from you. You know, late down on the lower site, the double clear, it was one player in the cubby in dark, and then you are double clearing ramp coming out. It was like massive 4K impact round. Just kind of talk me through that moment from your perspective a little bit, because both Tony and I were impressed that you're coming back to ramp, not overly worried about the dark player, and then able to even pull back and take him down too.
Okay. Yeah, so I guess right there, I knew I missed the ramp smoke a little bit. So I was more worried about Jackie, Twinkinator, dying to my bad smoke, actually, at the time. And so when he did die to it, I ended up trading 2 players there, one ramp and then the upper ramp, and then the one close. I knew the dark player was there because of Sasha, I think. And most dark players just play really passive, really try and force that fight, and so I wasn't worried about him swinging that entire time, honestly. I was more worried about those ramp players trying to protect the dark player, because that's what most people feel they need to do. And then after that, I just took a weird angle on the dark player because I knew it was just over for him at that point. I'm locked in, so, you know, I was happy taking that duel. Yeah. Yeah,
and listen, it might be an easier answer that I'm not going to ask for something elaborate if there really isn't one. But looking at the map that you guys lose, you know, looking at the Mirage game, I think that you guys do, agree with you, control pace very well, whether it be fast or slow. Typically a little slower, and I think that that's for the best. But what do you actually think had gone wrong on that map? Because it felt like, for me, there wasn't an obvious set of answers, but it felt like it's just very early in the rounds. You were kind of just already out of them, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So truthfully, Mirage is not one of our maps. We actually played like 15 games total probably as a core, like over the past 7 years on Mirage, I want to say. Okay. So truthfully, we can't really dictate the pace on that map, I'd argue, just because we don't have a lot of chemistry or expectations, even strat-wise, which is okay because that's normally one of our bands, and we weren't expecting them to leave in Mirage, from what I remember. I think Mirage is also one of their normal bands, so when it got picked, it was unlucky. normally. Yeah.
And the last tournament-related question that I have is how you're feeling about this semifinal. Like, have you had the chance to really like scout out what the other team in over your head is going to be like in a best of 3 as opposed to best of 1s? Do you have expectations as far as what you may have seen in the games previously on your own time? Anything at all? Obviously, not to give away too much, but do you have a game plan, so to speak?
Not too much of a game plan, but I did go to high school with Dead Man, and so we graduated the same year. So we actually spent a lot of time. Yeah, Game and Damon. Yep. So we spent a lot of time playing together already throughout our years, and then so I'm just excited to get like a high school matchup kind of going here in the semis. Yeah. It's kind of interesting. Not too big of a game plan. Just gonna go in there, shoot heads. I think our normal game plan will work pretty well against them.
Well, gotcha. I don't think I have any further questions. So.
I have one thing out of game.
Please.
I had to
hit it.
You have a lot of fans right now, it seems. Lop on top is what they're saying now.
Yeah.
They do say that.
Do you have anything that you would like to say to those who are in the chat either currently or those who maybe not, and you just want to shout them out, anything like that? Anything for the Lop fans?
Of course. I mean, I love the Lop fans. They're all great. There are many best friends, many online friends. I just always love the love and support I get. I don't think I deserve it, but, you know, I get it anyway, so it's awesome. I always love people supporting me and cheering me on, and I love trying to do my best for everyone that loves me. You know, I try my best always.
I feel like I've seen the Lot fan club forever now, considering I got to cover the collegiate games as well. But yeah, big stuff out you guys into the semifinals. But I think we're going to end things off right there. See you again. That is if it is in the grands, I'm sure. But thank you so much for taking the time. We appreciate it.
Good luck.
No problem. Thank you guys for casting. Love you guys.
Absolutely. That's, you know, I think that's pretty cool to see in chat there being given a little bit of that love. I mean, that's all we're about here. I can't say it enough. That's quite literally the campaign being built here.
True. Operation Cupid.
Operation Cupid.
Yeah. I feel like I have gotten the opportunity to see the Lop on top spams for a long time now.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. MTU? I think it was MTU, Michigan Tech, where Lop went.
I don't think I ever played against him.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit.
He was a little earlier,
yeah. Yeah. Nonetheless, we have just a little bit of time to wait. We've got a semifinal that is going to be coming up next. As we had highlighted, if we want to pull up the bracket real fast one more time, it's going to be a look at a Stavafu's team that we have not yet got to cover on this broadcast. Stavafu's tuition farm up against Big Dog. Both of those 2-0s, easy enough victories in their quarterfinal with 2 spots in the grands and $2,000 total, $1,400 first prize up for grabs. A lot on the line. But we'll be taking a break into that one as soon as we come back. So stay tuned. Operation Cupid will return after this.